Hello everyone, a very good morning to you all. Welcome to the first lecture of Advanced Performance Management paper of ACCA. I hope all of you are doing well. We'll start off with a brief and quick introduction about each one of us so that we know at what level you are currently, whether working, whether studying, and what your background journey has been so far till ACCA. Okay, I'll begin with my introduction. So I am Anushka Jain, your tutor for Advanced Performance Management paper of ACCA at the strategic professional level. I am qualified as a chartered accountant in India and also as an ACCA. Okay, so I qualified ACCA with a world rank 2 and all India rank 1 in the advanced financial management paper. My journey with ACCA started off after I completed my CA. So I had to appear for just the 4 papers at the strategic professional level, which were SBR and SBL, of course, and AFM and APM. I have been teaching students for the last 2.5 years now with multiple batches of multiple papers like Advanced Financial Management, Performance Management, and Advanced Performance Management. Okay, so the flow of the class and how it will go, we will cover that once I know about you. I see Shruti in the class. So Shruti has been one of my past students for AFM. Shruti, you can also start like what you are currently doing, how your journey has been with AFM. And Vinod and Lakshit, please tell me about yourself as well, what you are currently doing, how many papers of ACCA you have appeared. And if not, let me know if this is your first paper. Okay, so please tell me about yourself. Shruti, you can just put it on chat. I will read it out for the class. Shruti is left with now 2 papers. She has completed AFM and SBL. So that's how it is. Currently, she is just studying. Okay. Vinod says, I'm appearing for my second paper, APM, cleared SBR, currently working in Swiss Re as IFRS and data analyst. That's superb. Okay. Shruti is from Jaipur. What about you, Vinod? Where are you from? And Lakshit, please let me know about you as well. That's superb. Really happy to know about, when mothers are back to study to start off their career again. That's really sweet of you, Shruti. Really nice. Lakshit, please tell me about yourself. What are you doing? What your ACCA journey has been? I'm a cost accountant currently working in Dubai with an MNC. This is the first paper I have enrolled for. Okay. So we have got it. So Shruti and Vinod have prior experience of ACCA papers, and Lakshit, it's the first profile. So are you in FP&A, Lakshit? Okay, great. Vinod has got spare time in office. So frankly, I'll tell you, Vinod, this was also the reason I took up ACCA when I was working. One of the reasons I'll say when I was working. So I qualified CA in the first attempt itself, all the levels. And then I started off in the corporate. Am I audible? Sagar has messaged me that he's not able to hear. Sagar, can you please check the connection at your end? Other students are confirming that I'm audible to them. I have Shivani and Sagar also joining in. Sagar, please let me know if you're able to hear me now. So Shivani, we just started off, Shivani and Sagar, we just started off with a round of introduction about each one of us. I've already introduced myself. I would request you to please tell me about your ACCA journey, what you have studied, how many papers you have qualified, whether you're working or you're just a student, where are you based out of? Sagar, I believe there is an issue at your end because other students are confirming, all the other students have confirmed that I'm audible to them. Please reconnect with a different earphone or a different device, maybe, or you can try logging in again sometimes, or you can try restarting your system. Something will definitely work out. Please quickly do this. And Shivani, you can let me know about yourself, what you are doing currently, please. Sagar, please try restarting your laptop or rejoining the meeting. I think there is some issue at your end. I have Ishita also joining. So for everyone's reference, Shruti, as I said, has been a student of mine. She has studied AFM from me, and she just mentioned that it was it was very good for her. She scored 75 marks in AFM, which is a really, really good number. So I'll tell you guys, my classes are going to be very interactive. Feel free to put your doubts in the chat box. You can just message whatever you are getting stuck at. You want me to repeat anything? It's absolutely fine. Don't think that, what will ma'am think? Is it a very silly doubt? Nothing like that. Feel free, because I know most of you would already know about this, that APM is a different type of a paper, honestly. Some of you who have studied CA and coming to this journey, ACCA journey, you will find some resemblance in most of the papers from CA course, but APM and SBL are quite different. Okay, they are not straightforward mainstream subjects, really interesting. And I'll tell you also that it is really useful in the corporates, because once you're in the FP&A profile, once you're in business finance profiles, then this becomes all the more useful, because that is what you would be doing day in and day out. Okay. So Shivani is a CA final student, not working currently, just gave my first paper of SBR, living in Thane, Maharashtra. That's superb. Okay, and there are two users, I'm not sure who they are. Zoom user it is showing, and MCK. Can you please introduce yourself to me, your name, and about your ACCA journey, please? So I'll tell you something more about myself. So as I said, I started working after I qualified as a CA in 2017, May of 2017, I qualified. Then, and since then, I've been in MNCs I've worked with Coca-Cola. I have worked Coca-Cola, you all would be aware of, quite popular. Coca-Cola, and then I've worked with Pernod Ricard India. So Pernod Ricard India is a liquor company. So there are common brands like Chivas Regal, Ballantine's, Royal Salute. So brand names are popular, but the company name behind it is Pernod Ricard. It is the second largest liquor manufacturer in India. So I was managing the sales office of Pernod Ricard. And post that, I started working with Flipkart. So currently, I am working with Flipkart in Bangalore, India. So I am in the business finance role, and I manage the fintech part of it. Okay. So Zoom user, please let me know who you are, and so that we can start off. We have completed the introduction of all of us. Okay. Zoom user, please let me know. Otherwise I'll have to be calling you Zoom user. Just let me know your name and a brief introduction, what you are doing. Okay, so let's begin. Let's begin our journey of APM. So APM is Advanced Performance Management. So I'll tell you a little about the flow of the classes. So what we will be doing is we are going to be using the BPP, PR kit and study manual. Okay, the practice and revision kit and the study kit. So the reference of my slides would be from BPP. So I will be covering the entire study text in my class through these notes. Okay. So these notes are in PPT form. After the completion of each chapter, I will share across these notes with you. Okay. There will be a lot of questions which we are going to discuss in the class. Okay. Activities post the completion of a small topic. Okay. So for example, if we are covering Mendelow's matrix, then we'll be covering a question on Mendelow's matrix so that you can practice alongside. Okay, so there will be a solution file for those questions also, which will be shared with you. Okay, so there will be PPTs and there will be Excel file. That is how we are going to study. And I will be giving you homework based on the PR kit of BPP. All right. So I know most students ask me this question later in their ACCA journey, but let me tell you upfront, ma'am, what do we need to pass the paper? Very frankly, referring to the study notes, which I will be giving you, which are based on the study kit, okay, of BPP. So in ACCA now, there are two publishers, BPP and Kaplan, okay. So in our classes, we refer to BPP, and both of these, please understand, both of these are approved by ACCA itself. So you don't have to think that, one is better or another is inferior. Nothing like that. Both of them have been approved by ACCA. We can refer to anyone. But personally, BPP is more concise. I also used BPP when I was studying for ACCA, and I found it very, very smooth and easy to complete. So, it's very concise form. So you can complete the course quickly. Okay, and at the same time there are a lot of practice questions. So if you're coupling the classes with the PR kit and the study text, you are through. Okay, so coming back to where I started off, like what all do you need to pass the paper? Yes, I will come to that, Shruti. So what you all will need to pass the paper is number one, study notes, which I will be sharing with you for each of the chapter. Study notes meaning both your this class notes in PPT format and also the Excel sheet. Okay, study notes. Then next would be your PR kit questions. Okay, and then I will be showing you something on the ACCA website. That's the ACCA Study Hub. I will be showing it to you how it works and everything about that website also, because it's going to be very, very useful for you. So that is next, ACCA Study Hub. Something out of that study hub, not the complete study hub you'll have to study, because you are already taking classes, so you will be knowing most of the things from there. Okay, so ACCA Study Hub. And lastly, we are going to do the mock exam. So in simple, if you ask me what is the strategy to pass the exam, it is very, very simple. The study notes, the PR kit questions, the ACCA study hub, some part of it, which I will be telling you, and last is mock exams. Can someone tell me what is a mock exam? Anyone who has appeared the papers before, do you know what a mock exam is? Or did you try for a mock exam before you attempted the paper? Okay, please make the class very interactive. Please keep on using the chat box. So you will see that there is a chat box functionality. You can send the messages on the chat box so that I can read it and we can discuss. Okay. So we normally don't, we don't, and I mean the talking in the class from students, and when it gets recorded, it gets a little confusing. So that is why we do not opt for unmuting and talking. We use the text box functionality so that the doubts or anything which you put in the chat box, for that matter, I can read it aloud and the class gets smooth. So I would request you all to please ping in your answers in the chat box. So currently I was asking you, those of you who have attempted one or any two of papers before of ACCA, did you sit for mock exams? Vinod is saying no. Okay. What about, I believe Shruti would have definitely sit. Yes, because she has been my student. So I keep on pushing for mock, and I'm telling you, it is super, super useful. So you will appreciate this once the classes are over, and then I know you sit for the mock exam, and then you finally go to the real exam. You will see a starking difference of comfort with the exam. So mock exam now, it's like an exam which is published by the ACCA before the exam. It's for practice purpose. Okay. So there will be questions exactly in the exam format, and covering any topic of the syllabus, and then you have to write the paper, and I'll tell you how to approach it. So I'll tell you that you sit as if you sit in a room alone, as if you're there writing an exam. No disturbance. Sit with a bottle of water also. Don't let anyone come in. You don't go out unless it's an emergency, but sit in a room like an exam environment. Appear those papers. And I'm telling you, when you go for the real exam, after you have attempted the mock exam, it becomes very smooth for you, because you know how to manage your time. Because let me be very, very frank and candid with you, all the strategic professional level papers are very lengthy. Questions itself, they span across 3-4 exhibits minimum. Okay, so you take a lot of time in reading, you then take a lot of time in writing. So unless you have practiced a mock before, and you think that you will just sit in the exam directly, you are going to struggle, my friends, because you'll be struggling with time management, you'll be struggling with how to manage the exam pressure. So to avoid that, mock exam is like one short funda I give to pass the exam. So make sure you do it. It's the very first class, very, very advanced to you to actually me to tell you this, but for the benefit of the students, I'll tell you, so that you are very clear in your mind. What students start doing, they start doing Kaplan also, they'll do this, they do, I mean, it becomes a haphazard study way. Okay, I don't want you all to do it. Please understand, both the modules are approved by ACCA, refer to anyone, but be very, very crystal clear with the concepts, because don't expect any common question in exam. I can guarantee you there will not be any question which you will feel, wow, if I would have studied from Kaplan, I would have got it right, because the questions are going to be unique and they will not be common from any of the past questions. The intent of the classes is to make you so concept clear about all the concepts, crystal clear about all the concepts, that you can tackle any question. Okay, so stick to a path. Don't run here and there, he's doing that, she's doing that, I'll also do that. No, have a clear-cut path, so that you have a very crisp strategy of passing the exam. Okay, so on that note, let us begin the introduction slides. So let us understand what is the overall aim of the syllabus. Okay. So what we do now, we will be understanding the slides and then we will be talking about it. So this exam, basically your APM exam, requires student to apply relevant knowledge and skills and to exercise professional judgment. So this statement now, exercise professional judgment, is applicable for all the 4 papers of the strategy professional level. Okay, so to exercise professional judgment, so it is deemed already. So when you are sitting for this strategic professional level papers now, it is deemed that you are already in a CXO position in a company, be it the CFO, be it the CEO. So you are already there at that level. Okay. So you will be asked to exercise the professional judgment which is expected of a person of that stature, right? Yes, Shruti, like I used to do for AFM, all the slides and notes will be shared with you once the chapter, but that particular chapter is complete. Okay, the exam requires students to apply relevant knowledge and skills and to exercise professional judgment in selecting and applying strategic management accounting techniques in different business contexts and to contribute to the planning, control, and evaluation of the performance of an organization. Please understand, you're not going to do some financial modeling or something. You are going to be planning, you are going to be controlling and evaluating the performance of an organization. Okay, so that is what is. My screen not visible? I have shared the slides, Shruti. And everyone, please confirm. Vineet is saying it is visible. Vineet, Lakshit have confirmed that it is visible. Shruti, can you please check? You can see me. Others, please let me know. Lakshit and Vineet are confirming. Are you all able to see my screen? I am presenting a slide as I'm talking. You can now, Shruti? All right. Okay. So I see that Anurag and Tushar have joined the class. So Anurag and Tushar, we just did a brief round of introduction about each one of us, about you guys, the students in the class, and about me. I would really request if you can both please send me a brief introduction about you, about your ACCA journey, how many papers you've attempted, how many papers are left to go, and whether you're working or a student currently. Okay, Anurag and Tushar, request to you, please let me know. And Shravani also, I believe you also have not shared your introduction so far. I would request you also to please share your introduction quickly. Okay. So what I was telling is, this paper, it would require you to plan, control, and evaluate the performance of an organization. Okay. And to its strategic and operational development. So you're at the strategic professional level. It's not expected of you to be solving simple, mathematical questions, formula. No, you will be required to take strategical decisions. Okay, that will impact the performance of the entire company. Okay, so that is the aim of the syllabus of this paper. Brought forward knowledge. So a lot of topics are common from the performance management paper. Okay, so in ACCA, right, there are 3 levels. Knowledge level, which is the entrance exam, you can say knowledge level, then skill level, and finally there is the strategic professional level. So you will see APM derives its concepts and subject flow from management accounting at the knowledge level, performance management paper at the skill level, and finally it is APM here at the strategic professional level. There are some links between the SBL paper and the APM paper, but don't be worried if you have not studied this paper. All the concepts, or any of the papers for that matter, be it SBL, be it PM, be it MA, if you have not studied any of these papers in your ACCA journey till now, don't fret. All the concepts in the current paper, that is APM, will be discussed as if you are listening to it, or you're getting to know about it for the very first time. Okay, So Shravani has sent me her introduction message. She is from Pune. I'm currently working at Infosys. I have recently joined ACC, and this would be my first paper. That's all right. Do you have exemptions in all the other papers, Shravani? All the other 9 papers, are you exempt from it? You can put your answers in the chat box. Okay. So that is about the flow of the papers in the hierarchy at the knowledge level, skill level, and strategic professional levels. As I said, nothing to worry. If you have not studied it before, we will be covering it as if you are studying the concepts in the APM paper for the very first time. Okay. Just to let you know, the recorded lectures will be available. Recorded lectures will be available. You know, so we have weekend classes, right? From 10 a.m. to 2:30. Classes will be made available to you during the week. If you miss any class, if you miss any class, please watch the prior class. I mean, the missed class before you join the next class. Because there will be, cross references from the previous topic. So I don't want you to get confused in the next class. If by chance you happen to miss any class, please watch the recorded lecture. Okay. And one more thing, I have seen students, and I'll have a lot of students who vouch for it. If you are attending the live classes, okay, and you're actively participating, okay, be it sharing your doubts or be sharing your views also. Sometimes I might be giving one example, but maybe you have another example on the same context. So when you share these thoughts now, you learn better. Okay. So I would really request you all to join the live classes. Discuss your, views and, doubts in the class itself. Rather than watching the recorded lectures, you will see a lot of difference in yourself. See, you are joining APM at a time when the live lectures are on. Not everyone gets that privilege, people watch the recorded lectures later on. So at that time, it becomes very difficult to, if you have a doubt right during the in between of the class, then you have to wait for the class to get over. Then you can message the faculty and so on and so forth. But if you are studying APM at a time when live lectures are going on, make the best use of it. Try to be regular in the class, okay? And make sure you are participative. Don't just sit back in a chair and, watch this class as a movie. Actively sit engrossed, listen to what the faculty is saying, what I am saying to you, and make it a very, very, to and fro type of a class, not like just I am talking. You can always share your views. And let me be very frank, there's no barrier as a teacher and a student in this class. Treat me as your friend, as if you are just studying along together with me, and treat it like that. You will really, really feel the comfort of sharing your views without any barriers. Okay. So Tushar's ID is actually Yashika. She is using her brother's phone to access the classes. Ma'am, I just completed my class 12. This is my first class for ACCA. Okay. I'm a little surprised. Like, if you have just qualified class 12, how are you directly studying for the strategic professional levels paper, basically? How come you were directly at the final level? Yashika, to you. And one more request, everyone. Please join the class from laptop. Okay? Because I'll be giving you some questions to solve where you will have to, type in your answers. And maybe you'll be required to solve something in Excel. Maybe you'll be required to solve something, big answers, which will require you to use the MS Word, or for that matter, any notepad. Okay? Sir has sent the link in the group. Which group are you in? This is APM lecture, Yashika. I'm not sure. I think there is some confusion. This is the APM paper at the strategic professional level. Everyone, let me be very clear. This is the APM paper at the strategic professional level. Please make sure you're studying this paper as per the requirement of your journey. If there is any confusion, I mean, just clarifying that. Okay. I saw Yashika is from class 12, so I was like a little surprised how come she's at the final level directly. Okay. So coming back, as I was saying that, so Yashika, it's all right. You're getting like a demo for maybe whenever you come to the PM paper or APM paper or AFM paper. It's all right. Coming back, please join the classes from the laptop. It will be really, really beneficial for you. Okay. So let us now understand how the exam is going to be like. The exam is going to be all computer-based exam. Okay. There's no pen and paper anymore after the COVID pandemic came. All the ACCA exams have been made computer based. There is no option of opting for a pen and paper exam. Okay, but there is a choice for you. You can go for remote exam or you can go for center based exam. Exams are going to be on computer. Everyone who is joining the paper and course for the first time, please listen to this very, very carefully. Exams are going to be computer based. That is all the more reason for me to tell you that please use laptops in the class. When you practice on laptop, see, you are ultimately going to write your paper on a laptop or a computer, right? So if you're already practicing on laptop during the class itself, you yourself will feel very comfortable. Okay, it will not be like all the while you had been practicing on pen and paper and suddenly you are given a computer to type your answers. Your mind will just mix up things. Don't let that happen in the class. Please use laptops. Okay, and that is how you should be studying. It will be helpful for your computer based exam. Now coming back to, I said one thing, that there will be two options for you. It will be remote exam or center based exam. So remote exam is where you can give the paper from your home itself. Okay, you can appear for the paper sitting in your home. You can use your own laptop. Let me tell you something. And also, I'll just first explain to you what a center-based exam is. Center-based exam is similar to, past precedents, whereby you go to a center, there is an invigilator, physical invigilator there, and, you type in your answers in the computer, which will be out of the center. You can't carry your own laptops to the center. Be very clear. So you will be given a laptop or a computer at the center. Those of you who have already appeared for the exam, please tell me, did you opt for computer-based exam or did you opt for remote exam? Those of you who have already appeared for ACCA papers before. Vinit appeared for center-based exam. Okay. Shivani also used center-based. Shruti used the remote exam. So we have a mixed crowd here. Okay, so let me tell you. Personally, I prefer the center-based exam if there is a center in your city. Definitely, you should opt for center-based exam, whereby you go to a particular center, you type in your answers. They'll tell you why. The responsibility of making sure, please listen to me carefully, the responsibility of making sure the exam happens properly is on the center. Okay, the primary responsibility is on the center. They are ensuring that there is proper internet connectivity, there is proper laptop for you, or laptop or computer for you. Then there is electricity, no power cuts. Basically, any type of technical glitch you can think of, it is their responsibility, not yours. Whereas if you are sitting in a remote exam that is from your home, the invigilation will be digital. Okay, there will be a digital invigilation for you. You have to keep your camera open, and there are a lot of restrictions which you'll have to, which you can of course read on the ACCA website in a lot of details. So you can go for remote or center-based as per your requirement. But the preference, if there is a center in your city, preference would be to go for center-based exam. If it is not possible for you to write in a center-based exam, then you can go for remote. Yes, absolutely, very valid point, Shruti. I'll elaborate on it more. So Shruti mentions that the desktop they provide is not comfortable for use. Very, very valid point. See, I'll tell you. All this while when you're studying with me, or all this while you have been working, you would be using a particular laptop, right? And you would know that when you have been using a particular keyboard for some time, your hands become used to the keys. You type in very fast on your personal laptops, right? Sometimes, see, if you have been using a particular laptop and suddenly I give you a new laptop to type, your speed might reduce a little. So that is definitely a drawback of a center-based exam, that if you go to a center, you will be given a stranger laptop or a stranger desktop. So your typing speed might get impacted a little. Okay. Whereas if you're sitting for a remote exam, you use your own laptop. So you can, write on it at your own speed. But make sure all the configurations like internet, power cuts, and all of those things, and some system very basic system configurations are also required. So that all is available for you when you are writing a remote exam. So I'm just apprising you of all the formats so that you make a conscious choice. You know about everything and then you are making a choice. Okay. So coming back, yes, the computer-based exams are there are computer-based exams which you can opt for as a remote exam or a center-based exam. See, when I attempted my papers, it was prior to the pandemic. So I qualified in 2019 as an ACCA. So at that time, the papers all used to be physical. I used to travel to a particular center and then write the papers. And now you have that option. If you are, if you feel that the power cut, the internet connection, all of that is taken care of, you can definitely opt for remote exam. In fact, see, you guys can interact among yourselves also. For the students who have appeared for a remote exam, for the student who has already appeared for a center-based exam, what are the problems or the benefits they see in that particular format? So you have all been added to a WhatsApp group, right? APM. So you can interact amongst yourselves, and in the class also it's fine. Okay, so that is about the computer-based format of the ACCA exams. The APM syllabus is assessed by a 3-hour 15-minute exam. Okay, so all the papers at the strategy professional level are of 3 hours and 15 minutes. Okay, the pass mark is 50%. And all questions in the exam are compulsory. Let me talk more about it. Say 3 hours, 15 minutes. There is no bifurcation as in reading time, writing time, nothing like that. You will be having a paper in your hand and an answer script in your hand. In hand meaning, I mean the laptop in the computer screen at the start of 3 hours, 15 minutes. However you want to use it, it's on you. The total time available to you will be of 3 hours, 15 minutes. And the paper will be for 100 marks. A 100-mark paper to be completed in 3 hours, 15 minutes. The pass mark is 50%. Okay. And all questions in the exam are mandatory. It means let me tell you, there will be 3 questions and all 3 of them will be mandatory. There will be no options. Within question number A, there will be first one question and then they'll write, or you can attempt for this particular question. Nothing like that. There will be 3 questions in the paper and all of them would be mandatory. Okay, and the pass mark is what? 50%. You will be expected to demonstrate an integrated knowledge of the syllabus topics and an ability to apply your knowledge and understanding of the syllabus to strategic and operational issues relevant to your organization identified in the question scenario. So let me tell you, in ACCA, there are never such questions like, define this model. What is this model? At professional level, no. What will be given to you? You will be given a scenario in the question. Okay, that this company is doing this and that, and this is the environment in which it is working, or the constraints or anything for that matter about that company, relevant things about the company will be given to you, and then you will be asked question basis that scenario. Nothing like, define this, what are the 9 elements of this model? No. They will be asking you how you can explain this model, or how this model would be applicable in the scenario. Or you might have to suggest a particular model applicable in that scenario. So very little cramming. You cannot pass the papers by cramming anything, mugging up things. It will not help you. As I said, first of all, there are no duplicate questions in the exam that this has appeared in the past. It may come again, never. Secondly, there will be different scenarios in the question. And you have to relate your answer to the scenario and not just, jot down the concepts you have learned in the class. You have to apply the concepts that you have learned in the class to the question's scenario. Okay. So you will be expected to demonstrate an integrated knowledge of the syllabus topics. Integrated, very important term hidden in this long sentence. Integrated meaning what? That, see, for example, there are 13 chapters in this paper. Don't expect, if there is a particular question, it will be testing just one particular chapter. It could be integrated with the other topics in the syllabus also. So there is no clear cut or a shortcut to pass the exam. You need to be aware about all the topics in the syllabus. Okay. So you will be tested on integrated basis, not like on a standalone basis. So, and an ability to apply your knowledge and understanding of the subject to strategic and operational issues relevant to your organization identified in the question scenario in order to add value to senior management. As I said, maybe you yourself will be the CEO, or you will be the assistant to the CEO, making recommendations to him or her. So you have to give answers in a way that adds value to the senior management. Okay, so that is the approach to the syllabus. So how does this 100 marks break down? This particular slide is extremely important. Please follow it carefully. Okay. So there, as I said, there will be total 100 marks. 100 marks of paper. And there will be 3 questions. Question number 1, 2, and 3. 1 question in section A and 2 questions in section B. Okay. This question number 1, will be of 50 marks. 1 question of 50 marks. Now, don't be scared that, one entire question of 50 marks. No. There will be one scenario given to you, which will be comprising of multiple questions adding up to 50. So there will be some 3-4 subparts. Mostly there are 3 to 4 subparts, not more than that. Mostly there will be 3 to 4 subparts. There will be marks allotted to each of the subpart. Okay, after this table, I will show you a sample question paper also. How does the question paper look like? So first question of 50 marks, there will be some subparts to it. Okay, now out of this total 50 marks, 10 marks is for professional skills. You are going to be studying 4 professional skills in the classes with me. Then let me tell you, total out of 100, 20% marks is your professional skill marks. And there's no specific question on demonstrating this or earning this professional marks. How you are writing for the balance, that means 50 minus 10 marks. That will give you the marks for professional skills. How you are, commercially sound. Are you evaluating and analyze things in the right way? Okay. Are you critically assessing the situation? Or are you just like, this person said this, I'll accept it like it is? No. You have to critically assess people's comments when you're answering. You have to, if you're evaluating a particular situation, what are the advantages? What are the disadvantages of the situation? When you demonstrate that, It reflects that you are professionally sound. Imagine yourself to be the CEO of a company. How will the CEO think? So that will earn you these professional marks. There will be no specific question for 20 marks, let me tell you. I will come to question section B later, but let me tell you, from professional marks part, there will be no separate question. Whatever you write for the balance 80 marks is what will decide how much you get in terms of professional skills. So right in the first chapter itself, I have covered what are the professional skills, how do you need to earn it. That is covered. But make sure it is a regular habit of you, whenever you are practicing the questions, you see how the answers are drafted. Okay, the way in which the points are set. In fact, as we study also in the class, I'll keep on sharing my views with you, how to earn these professional marks. But very, very crucial. If you have to pass, definitely you have to earn these marks. Okay. So section A comprises of one question. So see, there are 4 sections in the syllabus overall. As I said that there are 13 chapters. Okay, each section is covered in multiple chapters. So section A is covered in chapter number 1, 2, 3, 4. Section B in chapter number 5. Section C has chapters from 6 to 11. And section D has chapter number 12 and 13. So section A question has focus on A, B, and C. Okay, so basically any topic from chapter number 1 to 11 can come. And let me tell you, I get a lot of these queries later on when the students are struggling to complete their syllabus on time for the exam. They'll ask me, ma'am, please tell me an important chapter for section A. Let me tell it to you today itself. I will not be able to tell. Because any topic can be tested. There is no trend in the ACCA papers, and that in this particular attempt, section A was tested. So in next attempt, section B will be tested. Nothing like that. Anything can be tested. A particular section could get repeated for 3 attempts also. So do not, you yourself start thinking that ACCA would be following a trend or something. Don't expect it. Okay. So in section A, you might get questions from section ABC syllabus area, which is covered here. And when I will be sharing notes with you, the chapters, the files will be named chapter wise, chapter number 1, chapter number 2. So you will have easy cross reference of which chapter belongs to which section. All right. So question number 1, focus will be on section ABC, 50 marks, out of which 10 marks. So this 10 marks is out of this 50 marks. So you will be asked questions for 40 marks only. 10 marks will be given to you how you are writing those 40 marks. Okay. Then section B will have two questions, question 2 and question 3. And definitely one will be from section D. So section D, one question will definitely be there in the syllabus. In the exam. Okay. So one question from chapter number 12 or 13 will definitely be there in section B. Okay. And any one from any other syllabus areas. So basically one question from D and one question could be from A, B or C. Okay. So each of these questions will be of 25 marks each. And out of these 25 marks, 5 marks each will be applicable for professional skills. Okay, again, how you are writing for these 20 marks. It will determine how much you get in this part. Okay, so that is the total breakup of the exam and the syllabus format. Okay, exam will be of total 100 marks, 3 hours, 15 minutes. And out of this 120 marks will be the professional skill marks. Do you have any doubts till here? Anyone? Any concern with respect to, ma'am, like I'm not able to understand the exam format or anything? Please let me know. Is this 10 mark professional part in every paper? Yes, it is there in every paper. Be it AFM, SBL, SBR, professional skills will be tested in all these strategic professional level papers. Okay, Lakshit? Others, any other doubt? Please let me know. Okay. All clear, others? Okay, so just to let you know, Sandeep has also messaged in the group. Whenever if you want to place orders for your DPP kits, right, study kit and the PR kit, you can use the link which he has provided for placing the order. Okay. All right. So coming back, as I told you, let me show you the exam. And in fact, I would request you all to actually do what I am also doing on the screen. Okay. I'll first show you about the ACCA global.com website. Okay. You all also please keep on doing this. Open a tab in your laptop. Okay. And please do this along with me. Let me know if you're not able to follow any of the steps. Come to accaglobal.com. In the search bar, type accaglobal.com. Please confirm to me if you're doing it along with me. Open a Google or a like whichever browser you use, Chrome tab, and type in accaglobal.com. Let me know if you're doing it along with me. So I'll wait for you. Yes, I will tell that. So I hope all of you have reached the accaglobal.com. So first of all, now, see, there is this part, student section. There are a lot of different topics here. Okay. So you can click on study support resources. I'm telling you some important parts of this particular website. So in study support resources, you can click on ACCA qualification. Then you can select your paper, APM. Okay. And there are a lot of things which you can do from here. CBE introduction. So if you want to understand more about how the computer exams are, you can study about it. Professional skills I'll be covering in the class itself. Okay. Then past exams and question practice. It is showing here, but you will have to log in to my ACCA. Do all of you have your my ACCA credentials? Do you all have your ACCA my ACCA login credentials? Please confirm. Lakshya doesn't have. Tanvi has. Okay. Lakshya will get it shortly. All right. Make sure all of you get your ACC login credentials. You will be using it for logging into a lot of, accessing a lot of things. Okay. So I'll tell you something about using my ACC login later. But before that, there is this one part which you should also refer. See, technical articles and tricky topics. Library of articles, videos, and podcasts to help you develop broader insights into the subject. So you can actually refer. It's optional, not mandatory. But if you're just, maybe traveling in a metro or something, whenever you're free, you can actually refer to this library of articles using strategic planning and control models to plan and monitor organizational performance. So you can read. So let's say Porter's 5 forces model. So you can refer to these. Read more about these models here. See, you'll be covering it in the class itself. Maybe if you're interested to read more, you can refer to these technical articles here. It's a good read, very easily explained. So if you're just sitting idle, not doing anything, you want to read something, you can read the technical articles here. Okay. This is something which you can use. The bargaining power of buyers. Very in-depth explanation. Very basic, in easy and basic language. You'll be able to understand all of these concepts here. Okay. So coming back. So see, there are illustrations also. Try to solve or read them. It will, see, reading never harms. The more you read, the better it will be. So you can refer to these ACC materials available. So technical articles, you can cover from here. Okay. So that was one aspect I wanted to show you. Next. Okay. Next, let me just show you now the exam now. The past exam and question practice. Yeah. So when you click on past exam and question practice, you will get this link. Log into the practice platform. Okay, so you have to click on this, log into the practice platform. Then they will ask you for your ACCA, my ACCA login credentials. Provide your username and password here. Okay, everyone, please try it along with me. So I went to the accglobal.com students section, then study support resources, then select the paper APM, and then I have clicked on past exam and question practice. Please let me know if you have landed on this page already. Please let me know, are you with me? Are you able to follow me? Yes? Sure, Vinod, I'll wait for you. Logged in? Super. Let's log into this. So all these papers are available to you. Okay. So advanced performance management. You can click on this. So it will expand. Advanced performance management. Then you can click on ACCA official resources. Okay. Then you can go for past exam library. See, recent exams, all of them are uploaded here. Okay. So let me tell you one very important thing here. See, most of the past paper questions now, it will be covered in your APM book. So whenever, and you know, the attempts, so you will have a question index. I'm not sure if all of you have your books right now. At the beginning of the book itself, you will see a question index. So let me show it to you here on the class also. Give me one moment as I load my book. See, when you buy the books now, you will get ebook version also. So you can download this app of Bookshelf, and then you can access all the books which you have bought at just one place. So currently I am referring to this book for you, Advanced Performance Management PR Kit. Okay. So like this, let me just zoom it for you 1 second. Yeah. So please buy the latest version for exams in September 23 till applicable till June 24. Okay, so for your exam, which will be in December, this will be the version September 23, December 23, March 24, and June 24. By the latest version, I'll tell you why. Sometimes not the references in the class will change otherwise. The question numbers which I'm giving you as homework, questions get deleted, questions get added. Please make sure you are buying this edition only, September 23 version. Okay, so what I was telling you is this. See, there is this question index in your PR kits. See, whenever, if you have the PR kit, you can open your book directly, physical book there with you. If you're not, then you can look at this. So there will be this question index mentioned to you. All these questions, you know, Stokeness, all the names are given to you in the index itself. So how many questions are there? See, total about 52 questions to practice. Okay, out of which around 12 to 13 questions are on 50-mark questions. Okay, yes, 52 questions plus 4 mock papers. So 50-mark questions are from question number 40 to 52, that is 13 questions. Okay, and remaining 39 questions, Remaining 39 questions are of 25 marks. See, it's all mentioned here, 25 marks and all of that. It's given to you here. And the name, see, the name of the question is Stokeness. See, in ACCA, all of the questions have a unique name, like Stokeness, CRC, Hamilton. So these are some identifier. This is an identifier for a particular question in ACCA. These are unique. So if you are reading the Stokeness question, this is how the question is referred by ACCA also. So instead, the Stokeness question came in June 2013, right? CRC came in March or June 2019, paper combined. So what happens now? ACCA publishes quarterly papers, not as half yearly papers. Exams happen quarterly, right? Exams happen in June, then in September, then December, and then March. Exams happen 4 times in a year. Okay. So whenever the exams are done, after that, mostly they do not release the question paper immediately after each of the quarterly exam. They publish the question paper for, the general public after half year. Basically, March and June will come combined. Then September, December paper can come combined. Or in fact, sometimes they publish for single attempt also. Like this has come out as a single paper earlier, June 2013. Then in this way, see, you will see all the attempts mentioned to you. So this would have been a combined paper published by ACCA for September, December. Okay, don't think, please let me clarify, do not think the same question would have come in September attempt also and also in December. No, it's not like that. It's just that ACCA publishes the paper combined. Yes, they do not publish the complete paper. They pick up some question. So maybe section A question would have been from September attempt. Section B question could have been from the December attempt. So they come, out of 6 questions, they combine and make it just a 3-question paper. So just because it is written as September, December 16, don't think that the common question would have come and now you start searching for people who have appeared for September attempt and then ask them what question came. It will not help you. So whatever they have published, ACCA combines 6 questions and then they publish just one paper of 3 questions. Okay, and why is it written amended? Amended meaning as per the new requirements. So this professional skill requirement now of 20 marks, it is newly there. It was not there in 2013, 16, 19, no. So that is why they have mentioned amended, and therefore the format of the answers has also been changed. That is all the more reason that you buy the latest edition. If you are buying any of the old editions, then the professional skills part would not be covered in the answers. So buy the latest book. Okay. So in this way, like I was telling you, the attempts are mentioned here. So when you get the book now, see till which paper, what is the last paper which is covered in the PR kit itself. So if I just scroll down, see, this is a September 22 paper. So the last exam which they have covered is September 22. So you will see questions from 2021 papers also here. See, September, December 21, right? March, June 21. Then in this way, you will see questions from each of these attempts. If you see, please listen to me. If you see old papers, all will be covered. Only the 21, 22 and 23 papers, you need to see if all the papers has been covered here. And if you have seen that, something is not being covered here, you can definitely open the, practice platform and refer the questions from there. Okay, so see, like I can see it is 2022, it has been covered till here. March, June 22 exam has been covered. So the professional skill requirement itself came from September 22. That is why here amended is not written, whereas March, June 22 exam amended is written. So I'm sure all the papers, all the questions till September 22 is covered in the book itself. You don't need to refer to the ACCA practice platform for it. Okay. So March, June paper, September 22 paper is available. nothing prior to September 22, you need to refer from the ACCA practice platform. Then what to do? So if you come here, the last what was covered, see March, June 22 was covered in the mock exam. Similarly, September 22, where is it here? This September 22 is covered. Then you can look for December 22 paper. Is it available? Yes, it is available. This you can practice from the practice platform, right? December 22 paper, March, June 23 paper. These two papers you should definitely, please note it down today itself that once this syllabus is over, please listen to me carefully. Once the syllabus is over, you are going to practice the December 22 paper from here and March, June 23 paper from here. Okay. So just to show you a brief format of the question, I'm not opening December 22 and March 23 question deliberately. I'll show you something else. Otherwise, the questions will get revealed to you now itself. I'll tell you. I'll come to your question. I'll address it in the class. So let me just open any random paper currently. I'm opening March, June 22. It's there in your PR kit, not to refer from here. But all the questions will follow all the papers here, the answer where it will be given, all of that is common. So I can open any particular question. I don't want to reveal the December 22 papers to you right now. So I am definitely opening any other paper. So I have opened March, June 22. So what you have to do, click on assign here. Everyone, please do it along with me. Click on assign here. So once you click on assign, now the button will change to unassign. Please let me know if you are able to do it. I have assigned myself the APM March, June 22 paper. Please let me know if you have also done it. Is it done? Please assign yourself any one paper for that matter. It's okay. I just want to show you how you will be able to see the papers. I want you to do it along with me. Everyone, just let me know. Please be participative. See, only if you confirm, I will be able to move ahead. If you sit silent, then the speed of the class will come down. So be participative. If you're done, let me know. If you're not, then also let me know that. Please wait. I'll wait for you. But just participate and message me in the group. Otherwise, I'll not know what you are doing. I hope you have assigned yourself the paper. Okay. Then what you do, once you assign yourself the paper now, in this part, self-assigned material, okay, in the self-assigned material part, one tab will open up. See, I have assigned myself a lot of questions, so that is why a lot of tabs are showing for me. But for you, if you're doing it for the first time, only one tab will show. Okay. So what you do, you go to that. Okay. So probably for you, it will be showing like this: APM past and practice exams. Okay. APM past and practice exams. Then you click on start or resume. So one or the other will be mentioned for you. So you can click on start or resume. Okay, click on this. Are you with me? Please tell me. Click on start. Okay. Then they will show you all the exam instructions. Section A, section B, and any other thing. So you can click on next. Okay. Since I'd already started this paper earlier, I have directly landed on the paper itself. You will be, if you're doing it for the first time, you will be showing a lot of instructions. Keep on clicking on next until you land on the question. Please let me know if you're with me. Whenever you reach this place, keep on clicking on next, and then this page will open up. Shruti has got it. Others, Vinod, Shravani. Lakshit doesn't have the ID, so you'll not be able to do it. But Lakshit, whenever you get it, please do try. Shivani, Tanveer, Vinod, done. Landed? Okay, perfect. See, this is how your exam is going to look like in real life. You know, there will be an exhibit, all this detail, the tabs and all. This is how your exam screen will look like. So you are you are seeing it in the first class itself, to so that you know that when you are studying, see, make sure when you are studying, you practice these solutions in a laptop. Okay, see, because when you will be, you see the requirements now, the answers, see, this is the response options which will be available to you in exam. So it will be a word processor. It is like your MS Word, Microsoft Word. So like this word processor will be given to you. Have a look at this, and then you have to type your answer here. So for example, you are talking about Porter's 5-force model. Okay, so this way you write your answers here in the word processor file. This is the word processor file for section A question number 1 only. It's not like one processor file for all the questions. This is the word processor file for question number 1. Okay, you close it, it gets saved automatically. Now if I open it again, that Porter's 5-force model is automatically showing here. You don't need to click on Control S or anything. Okay, so see, there will be a lot of options available to you. You can bold this Porter's, right? You can copy this 5 and then, you know, Control C, Control V, basic keyboard shortcuts. Okay, Control I for making it italics. Okay, then if you want to search something, let's say I'm doing Control F, you search model, and if you want to replace it also, one thing is you can search and you want to replace model with, let us say, specimen. I'm just using a random word here. Replace. Okay, model, and then find, and then replace. See, 5-force model got replaced with specimen. I want to undo it. So what will be the shortcut? Control Z. Okay, I want to redo it. Control Y. So basic keyboard shortcuts will work here. So that is why I'm telling you, if you practice on your laptop or your desktop, your speed on typing using these shortcuts will be more. Okay, so this is how you will have to write for question number 1. For example, this is the response option for question number 1. And in the similar way, like you have your Excel now, there is this spreadsheet which will be available to you. See, I would have typed something here. I'll just delete it for the time being. What has happened to this? Okay, you can delete it just by selecting it, and I press the delete button there. So it all got deleted. Okay, and see, there will be total number of 200 rows available to you. So the number of rows is restricted. Anyways, your answer will not be as long as 200 rows. That's highly unlikely. But 200 rows are available to you, and this is still T. Okay, the number of columns is still T. This is sufficient. I mean, I've never come across students telling the space was insufficient for me. This is more than sufficient. You'll be able to complete your answers here. And see, again, similar, all these options are available here also. You know, if you want to cut something, so let us say I've written F here. I want to cut and put it in column K, Control X and Control V. So it works. The basic keyboard shortcuts, Control X, Control, and if you want to increase the font size, this will not be needed in exam much. In fact, you can resize also by double clicking on this. So all of these options are available to you. Then if how many decimal places you want to type your answer up to 5.690 you have written. Okay, now you want to change the decimal places. So you can do it custom. You can go and customize your number. Then whatever you want to do, you can, I mean, these options will be available to you. Number, currency. Yeah, you cannot insert rows. You cannot insert rows. Like you can insert rows in Excel and Excel, right? Insert rows and columns. That you will not be able to do. So number format, like I can write 0.000. Okay. See, I did 0.000. So the answer changed up to 4 decimal places. So it is very much, easy to use. You can use the different number formats here. Date, if I want to write in a date format or anything for that matter, you can use this part. I want to write it as a percentage. So it's 569 percentage. I don't want to write decimal, single decimal. I want to use like this. You can do. Okay. Then if I want to write it in dollar form, so I'll click on this. Okay. Like, let's say this. So $6. Just I'm giving you an introduction of how your answer script is going to look like, and all the more reason why you should practice in Word or Excel format. Okay. So we'll delete all of this. Delete. And resize it back. You can close it. Okay. So this is how your response options are going to look like. I'm sure once you're seeing this, you will start practicing properly on your laptops now. Okay, coming back to how the questions look like. See, this is the requirements. I have opened an old question, so it's just showing me 4 marks here. But in the recent questions, you will see 10 marks. So before September 22 now, there was only 4 marks for professional skills. Now they have increased it. They have increased it from 4 to directly total 20 marks. Earlier, see if you, I'll show it to you later, there was no professional skill marks for in section B. Earlier, there used to be just 4 professional marks and that too in section A. But now they have increased it to 20, 10 in section A and 10 in section B, 5 each in each of the questions. So this is an old paper. That is why it is showing us 4. Don't get confused. I'm telling you, this is an old paper. It's of March, June 22. September 22 onwards, it will be 10 marks here. Okay. See, what is the requirement? It is now September 2015. Write a report all of your 50 mark questions in the book also and in the exam also. It will ask you to write a report proper, maybe to the CEO, CFO, like that, to the CEO of Calabi company or to the board of directors of the Calabi company, anything. So you'll be writing a report in the first question itself. So you'll have to be very, very particular about the format of your answer. There will be, see, professional skills are awarded here. Here it is written as format, style, and structure. There in new questions, you will see professional skills are awarded for commercial acumen, for communication skills. So total 4 skills will be there. I will be teaching it to you. Or for that matter now, let me just show you a recent question only. I'll exit this. Let me show you a recent question so you don't get confused. You can end the exam like this. End exam. Yes. Yes. Exit. I'll open up a recent paper now so that I can show you the professional skills. So this mock is already assigned to me. Let me open this. This is a September 23 mock exam. So I was recommending it to my students. That's why it's already assigned to me here. So click on next, 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 all of these instructions. So you have to read it fully. So you have to scroll down, then click next, next. Yes, next. Okay, coming to the requirements. See, this is a new question. I hope you can see now. 10 marks. Professional marks will be awarded for the demonstration of skill in communication, like I told you, analysis and evaluation, skepticism, and commercial acumen. So all of the 4 professional skills have been tested in this exam, in this particular question. Okay. So write a report to the CEO of the Department of Internal Affairs. See, you are writing to a government department here. I hope you're understanding what is the level of your answers which is expected. Okay. And as I told you, there will be a report in each of the 50 mark questions. You write a report. And then what they do now, they divide the marks. So first part is the critical success factors and key performance indicators of Yeland Police. This is for 12 marks. Evaluation of the value for money service provided, 11 marks. Use of non-financial performance indicators, 7 marks. Then the usage of league tables. This is 10 marks. So if you add up these 4, it will total up to 40. and then this is 10 marks additional. See, there is no question for this 10 marks. You will be awarded these marks for demonstrating these skills when you're writing the answer for this part. Okay? So that is how it is. Any doubts so far? Are you able to follow me? Did you understand how a 50-mark questions requirements look like? This is just the requirement. I'll be showing you the exhibits also. Any doubts so far? I hope you're with me. If you have any doubts now, please feel free to put it in the chat box directly. Don't wait for me to ask you if you have a doubt. If you have any doubt, you're free to put it in the chat box whenever you have it. Okay? So this is the professional skill marks, and like this is how the requirements normally look like. Now, let me close this and show you how the question looks like. So this is a brief introduction about the question. They are telling you that these exhibits are available on the left hand side, and what are these exhibits for? So first one is organization information. What will it tell? The background, new mission statement, and key 4 areas of action for the organization. Similarly, CSF and KPI, value for money, non-financial performance indicator, league table, and appendix 1. What all are the constituents of each one of them? It is explained in the introduction part itself. Okay, and now if I click on organization information, see, you are a performance management consultant brought in by the CEO of the police department. Okay, CEO of the Department of Internal Affairs from the country of Yeland. So as I told you now, you would be consultant, you would be an assistant to the highest hierarchy in a company or an organization. This is how you will see that there will be a situation given to you. The government of Yeland has recently changed, and the new Minister for Internal Affairs has instructed the CEO to do this, that. This way, they will develop a story for you, like what is happening to this company or organization. So you have to read it very, very carefully. This is just one exhibit. Now, in the same way, let me close it. In the same way, you have different exhibits, CSFs and KPIs. Again, I hope you're understanding that the questions will be long and you'll have to manage your time properly. Okay, value for money. So this particular exhibit is talking about value for money. You can read it here. Non-financial performance indicators. Okay, they're talking about non-financial. See, all of these topics will be taught to you. I'm just showing to you how the exam looks like. Okay, then the league table data, information is given to you. Then there comes appendix 1. See, appendix 1, there is data in Excel. Okay, I don't know what the requirement will be or whether it will ask me to do some calculations, but let me tell you something. You can copy the data from the Excel part. See, just like this, if I'm copying, I select the data, I press Control C. From the question, I copy it, Control C I've done, and then I come to the answer script. It's there in my clipboard, it's copied. So if I come here and paste it, Control V, see, I can paste the data from the question. In fact, for example, this part also I want to copy. Control C, I'm just copying a random thing. Control C, and this time I want to paste it in a word processor. So I go there in word processor, I press Control V, C. If there is any part of the question which you feel would be useful for you when you're drafting the answer, you can copy it. Okay. So I'll tell you one trick which I tell all my students. See, whenever you're writing the answers now, give headings to it. So if you copy this, whenever you are, writing your answer, at least you can copy the heading part. Control C, and then you can put it in the word processor directly, and then start writing your answer. That's, Control V. Control V you can do just to make it like a heading, and then you can do Control U also if you want to underline it, and then you can start writing your answer, whatever you want to write. Okay. So this is something which you should know about. Then you can start writing the answer like that, whatever you want to write. I hope you're understanding the utility of the computer-based exam. You can save so much time by copying pasting what you used to do earlier, writing or repeating something. So sometimes now you need to copy some content from the question sometimes. So at that time this becomes really a time saver. Okay, then calculator will be available to you here, but I hope and you can see it yourself just by the looks of it. This is a very confusing calculator to use in exam. Unless you want to waste your time, do not use it. You just have to 98, then divided by, I don't know if divided what rest also, divided by 2 is equals to 49. Do not use this. Please carry your own calculator to exam. Best thing is if you can do the calculations in word process, the spreadsheet itself. But if you like using calculator, you can use the calculator. But very important point, avoid doing the calculations in the calculator and hard coding the numbers in the spreadsheet. You'll not get marks. Because when the examiner is checking your answer script, he will see what all calculations you did to arrive at a particular number. So the best solution would be to start doing your calculations and just to show it in the exam hall, also in that particular cell, what the calculation has been. Okay, so follow that approach. Am I clear? Beneath the doubts, if there is already a report in the question, how do we present it? What report? So if there is a report here, this is not a report, these are exhibits. I didn't understand your question, I think, Vineet. If there is already a report in the question, what do you mean? Okay, in the previous question, there was a BCG report. So again, it will depend on what the requirements are, Vineet, how the questions requirements is asking you to use that report. Okay, see, you'll be given some extracts and then you'll have to develop more on that particular report. So you'll have to see what the requirement exactly is and then frame your answers accordingly. Okay. So it depends from question to question. So you will have to incorporate the necessary parts basis the requirements. Okay. Yeah. So there is this BCG analysis, right? So you will be given some BCG analysis and then you have to incorporate it in the report. So format of the answers and all I'll come, but I hope first we are clear with the questions format. Okay. So this is how it is. Okay, the questions, the exhibits, this is how it will look, the answer script, what all options are available to you. This is how it is. Okay. Now, I'll just exit it. You can also click on next and then exit it. Then let me show you. So I think Vineet only asked me where the answers would be available. So it will be available here. Okay, see, click on mark and then you scroll down. September mock exam. So I have opened a lot of question papers, so that is why it is showing me so many tabs for you. Maybe if you're opening it for the first time, just one tab will be visible. Click on that September 23 mock exam tab and then click on self mark. Sorry, I clicked on PM, my bad. Self marking, scroll down and then click on APM self mark. Okay, so now this is how it will look like. Please let me know if you're with me. Click on mark and then open the relevant tab and click on your paper. Please let me know if you are with me so far. Please let me know. Yes or no, both. With me. Anywhere you are getting stuck, just let me know. You have to click on mark, the top tab, and then come down and then click on the paper for which you want to see the answers, and then click on self mark. That's the process you need to follow. Please let me know if you're with me. Yes? Okay. So now what you have to do, so for each of the questions, now see the answers will be available to you like this. Answer to question number 1, question number 2, question number 3. Now, how to see the answer? So, for example, if I'm trying to see the answer for question number 1 only, the Giland Police Department question. See, if the questions are also, question exhibits are also visible here. You can just click on this and you can read the exhibit while you are seeing the answers for yourself again. So you can click on the exhibits here, you can click on the requirement, and your answers will be available here. Since I did not write anything, it's showing me blank, nothing here. So the spreadsheet and everything, it will be shown to you here. Now, click here to see the marking guidelines. Now, very important, you should know that there is a scope of step marking in ACCA exam. It's not like your entire 50-mark answer needs to be correct, or in fact, for that matter, the entire sub part. So, for example, a particular sub part is for 12 marks. It's not like the entire sub part has to be correct for you to get the 12 marks. There is a step marking concept, and this is shown in the marking guidelines, which is available along with each of the questions. So even if you have the PR kit, open any question, you will see that the solution will first have the marking guideline. That how will you mark? So you see it's written like this: 4 marks for the 4 CSFs and up to 4 marks for discussion on KPIs for each area. Maximum 12 marks, right? So if you are writing one valid point, one CSF which you have mentioned is correct, you will get 1 mark for each CSF. And then when you're talking about each of the KPIs, you can get up to 4 marks. So it's all broken down like this: 1 mark for defining each of the 3 E's, 1 mark for the comment on the CSF KPIs, so on and so forth. So the marking guidelines show you how the examiner will be marking you. This guideline will be given to him or her for them to evaluate your answer script. So they will following this and then giving you marks. Okay, so this is the marking guidelines. So just to get a sense of it, go through the marking guidelines for the first few questions of practice which I give to you. Okay, so click here to see the marking guidelines. It is for this question. For the questions in the PR kit, it is already given in the PR kit at the starting of the solution itself. Okay, and then click here to see the sample answer. This is the sample answer. See, given in complete detail. Now let me show it to you in full screen. Maybe I don't know if you're able to read it or not. This is how the answer is. See, Yeeland Police suggested solution. Writing in the report format. I'll be teaching you all of this, how to write the answers in report format and all. But see, to the CEO of Department of Internal Affairs, from whom you are a professional accountant, right? You were an accountant. Date. Okay, I'll come to that. Let me come. See, so date, then subjects. That what is the subject? This all I'll be telling you all the time. So at least this format will get embedded in your mind. To, from, date, subject. I think Shruti, you will be having memories from the AFM class now. This format is applicable for AFM also. Same thing. Like you start off with this to, from, date, and subject. Then you write a brief introduction that what the introduction is. And in introduction, you cover what all things are the constituents of this report. This is the first introduction paragraph. And then see, I told you now, write headings for each of the paper. For each of the subpart. See, that is how they write. Part 1, critical success factors. This is something you can copy from the question and put in the answer directly. Then you write the answer. Okay. So when you are writing the answers, I'll tell you this later also, write in small paragraphs. Now, Vineet, I'm coming to your question. Does it have to be this perfect? It can't be this perfect. Even I'll not be able to write this perfect as an answer. There is a panel of people who sit together and draft these answers. Okay. So don't expect that your answers will have to be this perfect. But you have to know that if you are addressing the requirements correctly. And I'll tell you the tip which we follow is that for each mark, so if it is like a 1 mark question, which there will not be, for example, if there is a 1 mark question, you write about 1 to 2 sentences for each mark, just 1 to 2 sentences, but you address and write something fresh in each sentence. It should not be like active and passive voice type of an answer, that my name is Anushka Jain, I am also known as Anushka Jain. This is not some college level paper where you think that just by increasing the length of the answer you will get marks. No, you need to be precise. You need to be crisp and clear in your answer. Each sentence should bring out something new in your answer. It should not be repetitive. Okay, so 1 mark per, for 1 mark you can write 1 to 2 sentences. So for example, if you're getting a 5 mark question, you can write up to 12 sentences. I just hope you're getting an idea that how much you have to write for each mark, because when you see the length of their answers, you will see, oh my god, can I write this much in the given time frame of exam? It's impossible, I'm telling you. But they give you these comprehensive answers so that you retain at least. So if you're reading 100%, you will be able to retain 80% now. So when you read these comprehensive answers, your mind develops. That is why such comprehensive answers are given to you, so that you learn, you know about new things. But when you're writing, this is the trick which you should be following. Okay, 1 to 2 sentences per mark, but all of these sentences should bring out something fresh and new in their ideas. Okay. Vinod says the decorum of the letter will be maintained with the exact answer which is to be provided. Yes. So your answer will be based on the particular question's requirement and also on what exactly are they asking you to do. Are they asking you to evaluate something? Are they asking you to describe something? So that is also very important. What are they asking you to do? For example, they are asking you to criticize something and then you start writing about their advantages. So you have to address the question's requirement carefully by looking at the question word. What are they asking you to do? Okay, and then you write your answers. So the format and all, it will be same. To, from, date, subject, introduction, then each of the paragraphs for each of the subparts of the question, and then finally a conclusion of the report. This will be the standard format for a section A question. Report will be asked in only section A question. Okay. So this is how you can see the answer. You can read the answers from here. All right. So this is a little, I'll tell you, not very user friendly. You can't actually select anything here. If you click on it, it just changes pages. So what I used to do now, when I was studying, I mean, when I have to refer to the answer slips, I take screenshots of it, because once you take a screenshot, then you can zoom in, zoom out. Here you can't even zoom in. This is the way in which the answer stays. So just telling you for your knowledge, if you want to take screenshots and if you want to zoom in, if you can't read such small text, you can take a screenshot and do it, because on their app or on their website, you can't do anything. You can't select also. Okay, so Vinod, I hope I have answered your question that where is the answer available, and I've also told you something additional over and above that, that what is the marking guideline which is followed by the examiner. Okay, so the marking guideline will be there and the suggested solution, both of them will be available here, question marking guideline and question sample answer, and this will be available for each of the questions. See question number 1, 2, 3, marking guideline, sample answer, marking guideline and sample answer. Okay. So this is how it is. 25 mark questions, there will not be. So if you're reading a 25 mark question, see, I'll just open the requirement from here. This is the requirement of the third question of the same paper. It is now 1st September 2015. Respond to the CEO. Does it write a report to the CEO? No. It asks you to respond to the CEO of Ronella's request for work on the following areas. So you can write, or you'll have to write on this. What is the alignment between Ronella and Zedwell, the introduction of the ERPS. See, again, 5 marks. Professional marks will be awarded for the demonstration of your skills in analysis and evaluation, skepticism, and commercial acumen. So out of the 4 professional skills, 3 are being tested here. Communication is missing. I will be explaining to you what each of these skills mean in the next few slides also. So total, there are 4 professional skills: communication, analysis evaluation, skepticism, and commercial acumen. So the professional skill of communication now, it will be asked only in section A question, because communication is to be expressed in how you are drafting the report. See, writing skills is also a part of communication skills only. So that is tested only in section A question. Here you will be tested on analysis, skepticism, commercial acumen. All of this will be explained to you in the due course of time. But I hope you are getting a sense of how the questions look like. Is it giving you clarity in your mind? What are you heading into? What you will be asked for in the exam? How the questions will look like? How the answers are expected to look like? Are you with me? Any doubts? Please let me know. Okay, so if you ever feel now something is going too fast, feel free to tell me that, ma'am, please pause. Please go a little slow. I'm not able to follow. I'll not judge you. There is nothing to worry about, nothing to feel shy about. Feel free in the class that, ma'am, please repeat this thing, or please go a little slow here. So far, are you able to follow my speed, or is it going too fast, or is it going too slow? Everyone, this is a question for everyone. Is it going fine with you all? Do you understand what I'm saying in the class? Or if I should go slow, anything, please let me know. Shruti is able to follow. Others? Tanveer, it's fine. All right. Okay. So that is about the questions format. Then let's come back to our slide now. So now I hope you're getting the clarity of how this actually looks like in real, the exam format and all. It should be now clear to you. Correct? Okay. Now I'll tell you about the 4 professional skills. I showed you now that there are 4 professional skills: communication, analysis and evaluation, skepticism, and commercial acumen. Okay. The professional skill marks should not be thought of as being separate. As I told you earlier, it should not be thought of as being separate from the technical requirements. These marks are earned by providing comprehensive and relevant response to the technical requirement. So what you are giving as an answer to the 40 marks, or what you're giving as the answer to the 20 marks, that will decide how much you get in the professional skills. There will be no specific question to test these skills for you. Okay, let's be very, very clear on that. So the first one that we have here is analysis and evaluation. Okay, first skill. Let's understand what that is. One second. Yeah. So analysis and evaluation is a very important skill in APM, because all of the questions in the APM exam will be scenario based. Okay, all of the questions in the exam will be scenario based, like I showed you. For question number 1, similar, there will be questions in there will be scenarios in question number 2 and 3 as well. The scenarios are there for a reason. It is vital to spend time reading and assimilating the scenario as part of your answer planning. It is important for you to use the information in the scenario and to apply your technical knowledge to produce a relevant analysis. See, there will be a big exhibit given to you. Okay. So when you read it, there will be some thoughts in your mind which you'll have to analyze, okay, in your answer. So when you draft your answer skill will be tested in this way, like how well you are at analysis. Were you able to catch on this point which the examiner wanted you to? So all of those things will be evaluated. Okay. So Vinith is asking, do we have to keep the boundary of the scenario, or can we provide any practical application also avoided, I would say. Okay. You should actually give your answers in the light of the question scenario only. Okay. Avoid giving some external examples. So because please understand, these papers are being evaluated by international examiners. So for example, you give an Indian example, Indian application. So maybe you are very well versed with the news and recent developments in the business world, which you should be, and you have a very similar example to give. But maybe the person sitting in Australia is checking your paper. Then what? So he will not have idea of it. So avoid giving some practical examples. I mean, from the real world scenario. But I'll tell you, start. If you're not reading, then please start reading business articles, business news, economic times. Guys, we are in the business world now. You're studying for business, right? So make sure you are up to date with whatever is happening around you. So I'll tell you, see, like as I told you, I'm currently working in the fintech field. I am just always up to my toes when it comes to fintech. Whatever new is happening, everything. Okay. So try to be very much, be front runners when it comes to the knowledge of business world. What is going on around you. Okay. So to apply your technical knowledge and to produce a relevant analysis. As you get into the habit of addressing the scenario, you have to address the scenario. You will be less likely to make the mistake of including too much repetition of theory. See what it is writing, mistake of repetition of theory in your answers. I told you, don't start writing whatever you know. See, always write what the question is asking you. Don't write what you know. If it is not asking you, it will not give you marks just because you know something. If you are not addressing the questions requirement carefully, you will get 0 marks. Okay, so avoid the mistake of repeating. Just because you know, don't write it. See if it is applicable to the scenario or not, right? So less likely to make the mistake of including too much repetition of theory in your answers. There are a large number of APM theories, and it is important that you have a good broad knowledge of these because they often get examined. So I'll tell you, as we see, currently we're just understanding the introduction of the paper. Once we deep dive into the subjects, the syllabus areas, you will see that there are a lot of models which will be discussed. For example, I told you the Porter's 5 forces model, for which I also showed you the technical articles. I hope you are making notes of what I'm asking you to do. For example, I asked you to do the December 22 paper. I asked you to do the March 23 paper later on. But just keep a notebook with you for something, sometimes I might give you an example which you want to take as a note with reference to a particular slide. So keep a notebook and then you can note down these things. Okay. Yes, Tanvi. So in SBL also we have a lot of models now. Similar to that, we have models here as well. But frankly, I'll tell you, SBL has a lot of models. This has slightly less models. Okay. And I'll make it easy for you. So what we will do now, when we are studying the models, we will start making a summary file for the models. Okay. So whenever we come across a new model, we will capture it in a particular slide, a particular Excel file, so that before the exam, you are not scrabbling through these slides. Where is the model? Where is this model? You'll find it at just one place. Okay. So we will start doing it. Okay. Coming back. There are a large number of APM theories, and it is important that you have a good broad knowledge of these because they get often examined. However, you are primarily being tested on your ability to apply. Please remember this. It's not about you repeating the model in the exam. It's about you applying that model to the questions scenario. That is what will give you marks. Okay. Not your ability to simply recite it. See, ACCA is telling you, ACCA itself is telling you, it's not about you. It's not about your memory power. It's about your analytical power. how much you are able to understand that this model applies in this question scenario, right? The APM ACCA examining team often comment that candidates repeating memorized material will probably score only 20 to 30% marks. A good professional level answer will go beyond the mere repetition of how a technique works and will focus on using it to produce an analysis. So you should know not just how the technique works, but how you can use it to produce an analysis that relates to the entity's specific environment. Very, very important. Okay, as I identified in the question scenario. See, now when you have looked at the question format, you will be able to relate it better. That there will be a scenario given to you, something that was happening in Yeeland, right? In one of the questions we studied. Then there were questions relevant to it. What are the critical success factors that can be applied to the Yeeland's police department, right? So that is how you'll have to do. You can't just simply start defining what are critical success factors. That will not get you marks. Very frankly. Okay. Analysis is the process of thoroughly investigating and researching information from a variety of sources in order to arrive at a thorough and comprehensive evaluation of a matter. Very important. See, how to score marks. See, I told you now, each of the questions will have the professional skills tested, and there is no specific answer to get it. It's about how you make your answers, the 40 mark or the 20 mark answers, that will help you earn these marks. So let us see how to score these marks. For the skill will depend on the nature of the question that is set. Appropriate analysis of data to support discussion and draw appropriate conclusions. So you will be given, see, remember the question which we saw, there was a lot of Excel data given to you. Let me tell you very frankly, even if I would have solved that question completely, you will realize the question will tell you calculations are not expected. Analyze the data given in that table. You are given some data. There was a lot of data, I told you, which we copied also in the Excel. You will be expected to analyze that data and then draw conclusions out of it. If there are, let us say, growth in the number of crimes which are happening in the country, right? In the Yeeland question, for example, it has grown from 25 to, let us say, 35, giving a random number here. There will be some scenario given in the question which you will have to corroborate, which you'll have to bring together to draft your answer. That this is also reflected in the growth in the number of crimes in the city or in the country. Okay. So you need to develop this habit of analyzing data. If data is given to you in some tabular format or for that matter, any format, what are the interpretations out of that? Okay. So you may need to analyze data to explain the meaning of numbers. See, you are reporting to the CEO, CFO, board of directors, shareholders of the company. They will not have time to read through detailed tables and then understand also from on their own what the table is showing. It is your job to explain those tables to them. Be very clear in what is expected of you in this paper. Students don't know only that till the end of the syllabus. Be very clear. See, you are writing reports and answers for the senior people in the company. Don't expect them to know everything in detail. It is you who will be interpreting and giving your views on the data, right? So you may need to analyze data to explain the meaning of numbers and then use these to help to draw reasonable conclusions. This is sometimes referred to as creating information from data. So you're given a lot of data. How do you infer it? Okay, that is creating information from data. This may involve some simple calculations, basic like a ratio you could create, or what is the percentage growth in number of crimes, 25 to 35, what is the growth percentage terms. So you can make simple calculations, but you'll not be expected to do some calculated math, big calculations, nothing like that. Simple basic calculations or interpreting calculations that have already been done. Maybe they would have quoted this percentage growth in crimes in the table itself. You just have to interpret what it means in the given scenario. That is how you score marks for this skill. Okay. You may need to analyze data to explain the meaning. Next, how to score marks. ability to consider relevant factors applicable to company's situation. This will mean making your points relevant by applying your points to the information about a company given in the scenario, both in your analysis and your evaluation. See, you have inferred something and now you have some knowledge. Okay. See how you can make your points, your views relevant by applying them to the information which you have created in step number 1. Okay, that is how you score this analysis skills marks. Each point you make should ideally be linked back to the scenario. Like I said, don't start giving random examples. Each point should relate to the question's scenario only and why it matters in the context of the scenario and the question's requirement. A common complaint from the ACCA examining team is that less satisfactory answers tended to give more general responses rather than answers specific to the scenario. Don't write general vague sentences. Give crisp and clear. See, all of this you will learn as you practice. I can't tell this to you in the first class itself, how not to write general statement and how to write specific statements. You will learn that with practice along with me. But please understand, like I gave you a very basic example, don't write active voice, passive voice. Be specific in what you are answering. Okay? That will earn you this analysis and evaluation marks. Next is ability to appraise information objectively to make a recommendation. So you're not just doing random things in your work, you are making a recommendation to the senior leadership. So ability to appraise information objectively, be objective in your approach. Don't have a bias for something just because you personally believe it. Be objective in your recommendation. Information should be appraised objectively with a view to balancing the cost, risk, benefits, and opportunities. You would have done a SWOT analysis. So that is being objective to yourself, right? So objectively with a view to balancing the cost, the benefits, the risks, and the opportunities before recommending appropriate solutions. So if you are giving a recommendation, you can support it with giving the pros and cons of it. Even if you have a strong feeling that a particular course of action should be taken, you can score the marks by showing awareness of the possible problems that may arise if that course of action is taken. So if you're suggesting something, okay, then you need to be aware that what would be the pros and then what would be the cons of it. Then only you will be pros and cons, meaning the advantages and the disadvantages of it. Then only you will be able to score the marks for analysis and evaluation. Okay. Is it clear? Please tell me. Is it fine? Please don't be so silent in the class. Fine. Okay. So what we'll do, let's take a small break now. Okay. Let's take a small break. It's 12:15. We'll take a 20-minute break and catch up around 12:35. Eat something, refresh yourself. The class normally runs till 2:30. Okay. See, today there was a technical glitch. I don't know what happened. Maybe some wrong group the link was sent, something like that. So the class was not started at 10. We normally start at 10 and end the class at 2:30. Okay. So we'll break for a refreshment now and we'll catch up in about 20 minutes. So see you after the break then. We'll complete the next topic then. Okay. Hello everyone, welcome back from the break. Let's continue our discussion on the professional skills. So we have already covered one skill, and what is that? Analysis and evaluation. The second skill which we have to cover is commercial acumen. Okay. So as I told you, start reading business news. If you do that, this is one skill which gets automatically improved. Okay. So commercial acumen is mainly about demonstrating an awareness. You are aware that both your analysis and your recommendations need to be practical. Okay, you're not giving some impossible type of a solution to a situation. Okay, so your recommendation needs to be practical and plausible given the resources of a company and the situation it finds itself in. Possible approaches to scoring marks for this professional skill include the following: demonstrating an awareness of organizational and external factors. See, what will happen now? You will be given a scenario that's the company will be in a particular industry. So let's say it's in a petroleum industry. So you need to be aware of the basics around that industry. See, they will do their best to do that, to explain it to you. But if you are yourself more aware about it, it becomes easier. So demonstrating an awareness of organizational and external factors. Organizational and external factors could affect performance measures. Either examining which measures are appropriate or looking at the actual performance of an organization. Okay. Decisions that are being considered regarding a proposed change in an organization's activities or its strategic direction. All right. So decisions are being considered that they are right in the strategic way, and regarding a proposed change in an organization's activity or its strategic direction. So will there be a fundamental change in how the organization is operating? So you need to show that awareness that what would be the impact of your decisions. This can be demonstrated by making effective use of examples, probably, please listen to this, probably from the scenario of the question, but occasionally using a practical real world example. But again, there is a risk here, which I told you. You might be giving a country specific, your country, basically, if you're from India. So you will be giving an example from India's context, whereas the examiner might not be aware of it. So it becomes a little tricky situation. Maybe your example is perfect, but it could not be, the examiner might not be aware of it. Then it becomes a little tricky. So avoid using it. I'll not say do not, try to avoid it. Okay, so most probably the examples which you should be giving from the it should be from the scenario itself. Some real world examples can also be given as part of your answer from the as an answer to an exam question. Okay, so I hope you understand what does commercial acumen mean. Business knowledge, business awareness, that what is the company doing, what could be the impact of your decisions, so on and so forth. The skill can also be demonstrated by identifying any relevant practical consideration. For example, when recommending performance measures, commercial acumen can be demonstrated by choosing measures that are likely to be practical. Detailed competitive benchmarking, for example, is unlikely to be possible for many. Okay, what does it mean? So let's say you are suggesting a benchmarking, so competitive benchmarking for a company, for an industry. So in for Reliance Geo Communications, who could be the competitors? Who are the competitors for Reliance Geo Communications? I'm asking you, please tell me, who would be the competitors? Airtel, Vodafone Idea, right? In India, these are primarily the two competitors for Reliance Jio. This is practical. This benchmarking is possible because there are limited similar types of a company or of a particular industry. But now, let's say there is a 3-star or a 2-star hotel in your locality. Okay, and you are doing the working of that, or that is the subject matter of the question scenario. For example, a 3 or 2-star hotel of your community. Now, can you compare, or will you first of all get a lot of comparative data for other 2 to 3-star hotels? Who will give you that data? Will you be able to benchmark that particular hotel's performance? I'm talking in real life, Vinod. In real life, it will be very difficult to get the data of other 2 to 3-star hotels because these are not publicly published. All right. However, In the same way, if I ask you, can you compare the performance of an ITC hotel with a Tata hotel? Can you do that? Both of them are similar, both of them have high-end hotels and their results are also publicly published. So you get a lot of data in the public domain. So benchmark is possible. So now coming back to the question scenario, when you are suggesting something, see if it is practical or not. Detailed competitive benchmarking is unlikely to be possible for many companies. You will not be able to get the benchmarking data in the real life. So if you start making recommendations like that, it means you are not practical in your approach, because you're not commercially or business wise aware. Okay, so you have to make recommendations, but those recommendations need to be practical. So think about what you're writing in your answers. Don't just start writing anything and everything that you feel like. Recognizing key issues in a given scenario in terms of, just excuse me for a second, please. Yeah. So next thing is recognizing key issues in a given scenario in terms of how to address problems and possible obstacles that will need to be overcome in the process of doing this. See, if you're giving a suggestion, your suggestion is practical, but there would be some obstacles or some hindrances in the process of application of that recommendation, then you need to give it in your answer, that also, so that it shows that yes, you are well aware of what you are saying, you are aware of the pros and cons, and what would be the implications, and then what is there how you can overcome those hindrances to be able to achieve your recommendation. It's very important that you know all of these things in the first class itself. Why? Because when you know that this all will be expected from you in the exam, now when you start practicing, I think there was some small minor internet issue. Am I fine? Is it audible now? Is the voice fine now? Okay. Let me know if there is any issue. Just ping it to me. All right. So I was saying that whenever you are giving a solution, and that this is a particular recommendation which the company should implement, then you need to show the awareness that in this process, the particular company could face these problems, and you would also suggest ways to overcome those problems. All right. This may involve recognizing key external constraints and key stakeholders. So when you are suggesting something, what are the key constraints? What are the What are the key problems and key stakeholders? For example, if a company is considering a new information system, it may be relevant to mention the possibility. Okay, it may be relevant to mention the possibility that this could create financing problems elsewhere in the company. So you are giving a suggestion. So for example, you are giving a suggestion to increase the debt of the company to get more funds. But then you need to tell them that by increasing the debt, you are increasing the leverage, and then there are higher chances of insolvency because you may not be in a position to repay the debt or the interest. So all of those problems you need to be aware about, and this will develop only if you are practicing with me in the class. When you practice a lot of questions, you develop those insights. So be thorough with all the questions practice that you are going to do. So it may also be relevant to mention the reaction of any key stakeholders that have been identified in the question scenario. So for example, you'll be given, your key stakeholders are your employees, the government, then it could be your, suppliers. So it will be mentioned, and then you have to tell that what would be the implication of your recommendation on those key stakeholders. So there is no ABCD like an approach which I can tell you about these professional skills. It's just that you need to develop them. To develop them, you need to know what they mean. So when you practice questions from now on, you will be able to realize why a particular statement is written, because they want you to write on commercial acumen aspect also. So this thing you need to develop right from the first day, and that is why we are discussing it today in the first class itself, because now on when you start practicing, you observe these things in the answer and mark them so that your answers quality also improve. It may also be relevant to mention the reaction of any key stakeholders that have been identified in the question scenario. Example, how might members of staff may react to the new system? So if you're introducing a new system in the company, how will your employees react to it? Using judgment in proposing and recommending commercially viable solutions. Again, something repetitive, that you need to give practical solutions which are commercially viable. Don't ask a local pan ka shop to install an advanced machinery for making pan. So that's not commercially viable for it now. So all of those basic sense checks should be there in your mind. Again, this can be demonstrated by making effective use of examples from the scenario of a question to make commercially sensible recommendations. Okay. Shruti has a doubt that is APM tougher than AFM. See, I cannot say both of them are similar. It's just that their approach is very different. AFM is pretty straightforward in its approach, but in APM, see, approach is in a restricted manner only. There is an exhaustive list of models which you all need to know. But the way in which they might ask questions around it is a little different. It could be different, and that is possible in AFM also. They might twist something around the concepts of maybe futures and options. So you never know. I cannot say tougher or easier. Both of them are unique in their own ways. Okay. So that was the second skill. What was the second skill? Commercial acumen. What are the two skills that we have studied? Analysis and evaluation and commercial acumen. Okay. Next skill that you need to know about is communication skills. Just hold on for a second. Yeah. This skill is likely to be worth 4-5 marks in the exam and will only relate to the 50 mark section A question. I told you that communication skills will be tested in only 50 mark question, and out of the 10 marks, imagine approximately 4 to 5 marks is on the way you are presenting your information, how well you are clearly or able to communicate your thoughts. So you can score marks in this area by demonstrating a number of features. What are they? Appropriate answer format. Remember this. Same like which I told you. To, from, date and subject, introduction, headings, of all the subparts of the question and conclusion. Bare minimum, if you're maintaining this, I'm assuring you, you're going to get 2 to 3 marks for sure. No doubt about it. Because examiner looks at how you're presenting your answers. Okay. Providing a suitable simple heading, providing a short introduction paragraph, use of subheadings, reference to the spreadsheet calculations. So if you're doing some calculations in the spreadsheet which you are using in your report's answer, then you can write, the growth in the number of times is, let's say, 5%. In bracket, refer spreadsheet for calculation, or simply write refer spreadsheet, so that the examiner knows from where this percentage is coming. If you have calculated it in the spreadsheet, you should mention that this calculation has been done in the spreadsheet. Start noticing these points in the answer practice from day one itself, so that your quality of answers are improving from day one. I don't want you to be wasting time. See, I'll tell you one thing. When I said at the beginning of the class that practicing the PR kit is a prerequisite for passing the exam, I'll tell you minimum, I'm saying 2 rounds of revision of PR kit is mandatory. Okay. So please note that when you start, so what will be your first round of revision of PR kit? You'll be doing it along with me when I give you homework questions. Okay. So when I give you a homework, then you can, read the answers. And sometimes if you know about that topic, see what I'll do. Now, normally I will be completing a particular topic and then only I will be asking you to solve questions on that topic. So what you can do, you can think that, this is the answer I would have written. You can do a scribbling of those answers and then you read the book's answer and then compare. What is the book giving extra? What did you not even think of? When you do that approach now, you will start highlighting the things which you earlier were not thinking of. Okay. So during the first round of study of the PR kit, make sure you highlight the tricky questions or tricky parts of a particular question. You use tags, use colorful pens, markers, highlighters, whatever you like. But see, I'll tell you like something which I followed: make your books dirty with colors. That, mark things. Write on things that this is a new concept. Maybe some small topic was not covered in the class. It's there as a small paragraph in one of the answers. Mark it. Apply a tag that this is something I need to study again before the exam, otherwise I will forget. So this all should be done during the first round itself, so that when you come to the second round, you have pruned, you have done some sieving of the questions. But these are very basic questions, I don't need to do it again probably. So some sieving could happen, and then you're left with, out of say let us 52, you are left with now let us say 42 questions. 10 questions are very basic, you will be able to do it. There was no doubt your answers perfectly matched with the book's answer. So you can take that approach, and then out of the 42, when you're studying again, there could be like, see, second revision is definitely, it takes less time. When you do the first round of revision, it will consume the maximum time. Second round of revision, because of the learning curve, obviously it will take less time. You're reading the same questions again and trying to solve them. So it will definitely take less time. In this second round, still if you're not able to answer something, then it is a flag which you need to apply. Must see before exam. Because if you do not see it, you will not be able to solve it. Because although you have studied something and then again you're not able to solve it, it means there is something which is tricky in that question. You should highlight that. And before exam, you should read through these highlighted 7-8 questions maybe, which are like extremely difficult. You could not crack them again also. So this is the approach you need to follow when you're practicing the PR kit. Be very alert from the first day itself, that you're marking important things, highlighting them, applying tags that this needs to be, this is a new concept, or I should not think of this point. Whatever. We have been studying for so many years. It's not like I have to tell you how to study, but I'm just giving you few tips and tricks which I used to follow. Okay, Tanveer says that so we should not club any other subject with this subject. So are you talking about appearing for multiple subjects in a single attempt, Tanveer? Like 2 subjects in a single go? Okay. I'll tell you what I did. What was the approach I followed when attempting my papers at the strategic professional level. My first paper was AFM. I appeared that solo. Okay. In the second attempt, I attempted for two papers together, and they were SBR and SBL. Okay. And my last paper was APM. Okay. So APM I gave solo. Now, at the strategic professional level now, if you are working, then mostly I will say people go for a single paper only in one attempt. So exams happen in every quarter. Every 3 months you get an opportunity to write an exam. So it's not like you're wasting a lot of time. But what happens is if you take two papers and then you'll not be able to, it happens that if you're working, you'll not be able to give enough time. Or even if you're just studying, it becomes little difficult to concentrate on two subjects at a time. So it's on your own assessment of yourself that how much time do you have in hand? Are you able to focus on two subjects at a time? Are you able to attend the classes, then solve the PRK, then do everything, mock exams and all for the two papers together? You will have to assess that for yourself, given the time that you have in hand. Definitely, people do appear for two exams. Like I told you my story also. I have also appeared for two exams together in the strategic professional level. But again, it all depends on how well you are at managing time for yourself. Okay, Tanvi. So even if you're going for single paper, it's not a bad thing because anyways, 3 months you will be able to give another exam. So let's just be a little, focused on the one paper at hand and then just do it in a, serial order rather than just, burdening yourself and then not being able to perform under pressure. So it's okay if you go for single also, and it's possible that you can do for two. It's all on how much time you have for yourself. All right. Okay, so we studied this. What are the requirements to earn the marks here? Then clarity and effectiveness of message. Where possible, your answer should aim to simplify complex issues. By doing so, see, don't use technical jargon in your answers or some big English words in your answer. That will not give you marks. How well you are able to simplify the complex issues, that is what fetches you marks in the exam. Okay. So by doing so, you will be conveying information in a way that is easily understood by and reflects the requirements of the intended audience. Don't think the CEO and CFO of the company will sit and think, okay, he could be meaning this. You have to have the clarity of thought in your answers because that's what you're doing. You're writing to the senior leadership. So you need to simplify. The simpler you make the life of your manager, easier it is in corporates. So don't try to make the issue complex. Try to simplify it. Effective communication means that your answer is specifically relevant to the company in the question rather than making a general point. Don't write general vague sentences. Write specifically addressing the question's requirement. For example, a discussion of KPIs. What are KPIs? Key performance indicators. A discussion of KPIs would be expected to address the possible critical success factors in a scenario rather than being a general discussion. So if there is a question on CSF and KPIs, they need to be specific to the question's requirement, not writing general statements about what a CSF is, what a KPI is. Next approach to get marks in communication is use of appropriate technology. Make sure that your spreadsheet calculations are clear. I told you, don't do calculations in the calculator and hard code it in the answer script. Do the calculations in the spreadsheet itself and show it. I mean, the calculations in the cell, do not delete it. Let it be. Okay. So the calculations are clear to the marker with clear signposting. Signposting meaning giving proper headings. With clear signposting to the logic of the approach being followed. So in a particular cell, if you are doing, let us say, I'm calculating interest on a loan. So I should actually write the signposting of it. That means the heading of the calculation as in principal into interest percentage into time in years. So I will be able to calculate the interest in the next cell with all the numbers in just one cell calculations. I hope you all are using Excel, you know the basics of Excel at least. And so calculations should also be headed up as a numbered appendix. So there is a you can write the heading as appendix for the spreadsheet and you do all the workings there. Note number 1, note number 2, note number 3. And you can give the reference of these notes in your report, which you will be writing in the document, MS Word, right? Your key spreadsheet calculations should also be referenced in the main body of the report. Example, see Appendix 1 in accompanying spreadsheet. Like I told you, refer spreadsheet or refer appendix in spreadsheet, refer note 1 in Appendix 1. So you can write this proper signposting in your answers so that the examiner relates from where a particular thing came. He should not be left wondering what just happened. Make his life simpler. Okay. So that was about communication skill. So that was the third skill. Am I clear? All the 3 skills we have discussed so far. What are the 3 skills we have discussed so far? Please tell me in the chat box quickly. Let's see how many of you remember. What are the 3 skills that we have studied so far? Fastest fingers first. Very good. Analysis and evaluation. Then communication, commercial acumen. These are the 3 skills that we have studied. Now the fourth one is skepticism. Now, how to score marks for this professional skill? It will depend on the nature of the question. So what are you trying to, what is the question trying to make you skeptically analyze something? What do you mean by skepticism? What do you mean by skepticism? Simple English word. What do you understand about it? Very good. To keep the knowledge of doubt, right? Then raising doubt or question. See, if I'm telling you something, I'm telling you the earth is flat, and you say, okay, ma'am. That's being, submissive to the idea of whatever someone else is telling you. Skepticism would be, I tell you that the earth is flat. You tell me, what makes you say that? So that questioning attitude, why? Or how can a person say this? Like, what is the basis for him saying this? Right? Yes, very good. Questioning the status quo. So, how to score marks? Effective challenge and critical assessment. At this stage of your studies, at this stage meaning you are at the professional, the final level, candidates are expected to be able to relate their technical understanding of the subject to issues of strategic and operational importance to the organization. As part of this, there is an expectation that candidates will be able to critically assess the techniques that they have used. So, for example, if you're making some assumption while drafting your answer, you can, so the managing director of the company has said that the cost of capital is 10%. You can, you can write it. The basis for the, cost of capital has not been clarified in the question. This could be a subject to change. So this is a type of, having a questioning mind. That if someone is saying this, what is the basis? Is it given? Is it not given? And then even if it's not given, you need to call out. Okay, as part of this, there is an expectation that candidates will be able to critically assess the techniques that they have used or business proposals that have been made as part of an answer to a question. The skill of skepticism requires candidates to understand the potential disadvantages or limitations of techniques or proposals. Information provided in a question may sometimes be subject to challenge. However, to score a professional mark, you cannot simply say that the piece of information may be wrong. So I'm not asking you to write that everything given in the question is wrong. Instead, you might explain why the information or assumption may be subject to error. or the impact of the information or assumption being unreliable. Like I told you, the cost of capital is 10%. That what is the basis for this? That the basis of this is not clarified. So hence, it needs to be considered while making the final decision. What was the basis? Exam questions frequently suggest the use of a new technique, but then create a question scenario that would not or may not suit the application of that technique. Meaning to say, you will be given a particular technique to apply in a question scenario, but on the face of it, now you will feel that this technique is not suitable for this particular scenario. So what you will do, you will first apply that technique as per the question's requirement, but then you will critically assess that this technique could go wrong because of XYZ reasons. See, all of this now you will learn only with practice. I'm just telling you gist of it, that these things you need to be aware about when you are reading answers. Next way to earn marks here is identification of missing or additional information. So sometimes it might so happen that, some information is missing. So you need to be able to tell in the report that the information to this aspect is not available. Okay, so that type of a statement you need to make, that you know that this particular information you would have needed, right? So in some questions, you may feel that useful information has not been provided. And if so, you can mention this to score marks for skepticism. See, imagine you get marks for mentioning that something is missing in the question. Missing or additional information needs to be important, practical, and relevant. See, don't write anything and everything that this is also missing, this is also missing. It needs to be relevant, so that so important for the question scenario that without this information, the conclusion would not be justifiable. So the missing or additional information needs to be important, practical, and relevant, so that this is not an excuse to write an unrealistic list of extra information. Don't start writing unrealistic expectations from the question that this should also have been given, everything should have been given. Okay, you will need to justify the need, that why do you need this information? Why do you feel that this should have been provided to you in the question? So you need to justify this. That will only help you to get the marks. And demonstration of the ability to probe into the reasons. Have a questioning attitude. Probe into the reasons for issues and problems. Skepticism can also mean applying an inquiring mind and exploring the underlying reasons for a given situation. This may involve challenging opinions or assertions made in a question. The managing director is saying you to do something, but then you have a different opinion to it. You feel that the managing director is not, what he is saying is not right. So how do you critically assess it? See, I'll tell you very frankly. So like I showed you that there are 4 skills which are getting tested in section E. You will realize it when you read the subparts now. You will realize that this skill could have been may be getting tested in here in this subpart. So skepticism could be tested in part 3, or maybe skepticism and analysis evaluation could be testing together. Anything and everything is possible, but by reading the requirement now you will understand, yeah, this question could be testing for maybe skepticism. So they will ask you in a report to the CEO, evaluate the assumptions taken by the managing director. There you will be evaluating as well as demonstrating a skeptical attitude towards the assumptions made by the managing director. So that is how you'll have to understand how and what to write in a particular subpart of the question. Okay. Skepticism can also mean applying or inquiring mind and exploring the underlying reasons for a given situation. This may involve challenging opinion or assertions made in a question. For example, effectively challenging a CEO's mistaken view that effective quality control is all about final stage checking of a product. So if the CEO is saying, it will be given in the question that the CEO believes that effective quality control is only possible at the last leg of the product. Whereas you can say, no, it is comprehensive, it is all pervasive and applicable at all stages of the product, not just at the final stage checking. To score marks, the basis of this challenge would have to be explained. The basis for this challenge. So you're challenging now. So my contention is what? It should not be applicable only at the final stage, but throughout the process. So you are explaining that. That will help you to earn the marks. Are you clear? Please tell me, are all the 4 skills clear to you? Any doubt? Okay. So then let's move to the exam success skills. A lot of this I have already told you, but then let's understand it formally. First one is correct interpretation of the requirements. This is something which I told you, no? Write what the question is asking, not what you know. If the question is asking you X, you answer for X only, don't answer for Z. Correct interpretation of the requirement. Understand what the requirement is. The active verb. So I told you the question verbs. It could be discuss, it could be evaluate, it could be critically assess. Any type of a question verb could be given to you. You have to answer basis that question verb. If the question is asking you to critically examine, basically show a skeptical attitude, and if you start demonstrating commercial acumen there, will you get the marks? No. So if it is asking you to explain and then you start writing about the disadvantages of it, will you get marks? No. If they're asking you to explain, you explain. If they're asking you to evaluate, you evaluate. Evaluate meaning you can give the advantages and the disadvantages of it. So it is important you identify and use the verb to define your approach, your answers approach. The correct interpretation of the requirement skill means correctly producing only what is being asked for by the requirement. Anything not required will not earn marks. Okay. This skill can be developed by analyzing questions, requirements, and applying this process. What is the process? Step 1. Read the requirements. So like when I was showing you the question, remember, even I started reading the requirement first before I read the exhibits. So that is because of the habit I have now. Whenever you are reading a question, I tell this to all of my students, read the requirement first. I'll tell you what happens. When you read the requirement first, you understand, your mind becomes alert that this particular topic is being asked in the question. Okay. Now, when you come back to reading the exhibits, your mind is already alert. You know, this part of the question was a question also, like a requirement also. This particular exhibit was being asked for in the question also. So let me go slow. Let me highlight a few things here. So that is possible only when you have read the requirement first. If you read the exhibits like a story first and then you come to the requirement, no sense. What will happen, you know? You read the... So first tell me, you have looked at the questions format. Tell me what is longer, the exhibits or the requirements? What is longer in length? Exhibits or the requirements? Definitely the exhibits are longer in length. So imagine one approach is read the requirement first, then exhibits, and then finally read the requirement and write your answer. Approach number 1. Approach number 2. Read the exhibits first like a story, then read the requirement. Then when you understand, oh, this was asked, and then you again go back to reading the relevant parts of the exhibit. And then you start writing your answer. Which approach do you feel will take less time? Approach number 1 or approach number 2? Which approach? Requirement, exhibit, requirement, or exhibit, requirement, exhibit? Which approach will take less time? Definitely approach 1. Because requirements are limited. Exhibits are long. Don't even think that you will be reading the exhibit again unless like you've forgotten it completely. In your mind, make sure when you're reading the exhibit, after reading the requirement, you are very alert so that you don't forget anything. Okay. So that is what is given here. Read the requirement a couple of times slowly and carefully highlight. Yes. You know, remember in school time you used to have the English comprehension questions where they used to give a big comprehension, then they used to give some questions. But let me tell you, in a strategic professional level, you will not have the liberty to waste even a second in the exam hall. So that is why learn these techniques. Make sure going forward, you read the requirement first and then the exhibits. Even if I start reading a particular exhibit first, now stop me and tell me, ma'am, you have not told us the requirement. How will I be alert when you're reading the exhibit? Make sure you have this habit of reading the exhibit requirement first and then come to the exhibits. Okay. So read the requirements a couple of times slowly and carefully and highlight the active verbs. Highlight the question verb. What is the question asking you to do? Is it asking you to advise? Is it asking you to evaluate? Is it asking you to calculate? Highlight that. What's the question asking you to do? Use the active verbs to define what you plan to do. Make sure you identify any sub-requirements within a requirement. Sometimes what happens is two requirements are set together in a particular single requirement. There are sub-requirements, although not clearly marked as subpart A, subpart B, no. It will be, very conspicuous, hidden in a sort of a particular requirement. And if you miss that now, you'll miss half of your marks. You saw the marking guidelines. If you're not addressing a particular requirement, you will not get the marks relevant to that. So make sure if there is any sub requirement, that also you highlight. Sometimes you will be written, I'm writing a random thing. Briefly explain about the Chandrayaan mission and explain the impact it is expected to create. So first part is what? You are asked to explain the Chandrayaan mission. Second part is what? Evaluate the impact it is expected to create. So you need to address both the requirements to get the full marks. Make sure you identify any sub-requirements within a requirement. This is often signaled by the use of the word and within a requirement. In APM, the requirements will be embedded in the scenario of a question. Important active verbs for APM include the following. Advice. This requires you to provide someone with useful information or to tell them what you think they should do based on a consideration of the issues presented in a scenario. So you're asking them to advise on something. Okay, give them suggestions, give them ideas to solve a particular problem. So if the question verb is advise, you give advice only. You don't start explaining the problem and then, this is the advantage, that is the problem. No. Give the solution, give the advice. Okay. Next, analyze. This requires you to break an issue into separate parts and discuss and examine or interpret each part. Analyze, break it down. Break down the data. What is the interpretation of that part of data? This may require you to give reasons for the current situation or what has happened. That is analyze. So if the question is asking you to analyze, you do this. You break down the data into smaller parts. Okay. Apply. This requires you to put a concept into action by applying it to the scenario in a relevant way. So you will be asked to apply the 5. So what will be the requirement like? Apply the Porter's 5 forces model to the question scenario. Then you apply the model. Next, assess. This requires you to judge the importance or estimate the nature, quality, or significance of an issue. See, all of these question verbs now in exam look very similar. Analyze, apply, assess, discuss. But to score proper marks, you need to know what each of these question verbs mean carefully. Then only you will be able to get the full marks. So assess, this requires you to judge the importance or estimate the nature, quality, or significance of something which they are asking you to assess. What is the importance? What is the quality? Next, discuss. If the question is asking you to discuss something, this will require you to consider and debate about the pros and cons of an issue. And similar is evaluate also. So this will require you to present a balanced discussion. You know, when you discuss the pros and cons of a situation, only then you will be able to give a balanced discussion. No? So this will require you to present a balanced discussion of an issue, looking at both the positive and negative issues. So discuss and evaluate are more or less the same. Where numbers feature in a question, an evaluation will require you to use the numbers provided to create a value from which a judgment can be made. Okay, that is about evaluate. Next. Yes, so if the question is asking you to apply, then you don't need to evaluate the model in light of the scenario. Only apply. So again, the marks will also be like that, we need. The examiner is smart enough, like how much he is asking and how much mark he is allotting. So that will be taken care of. Don't worry about that. So marks will be, 4 marks, 5 marks questions can also be come there. So it will matter. Now, Porter's 5 courses model, if they are asking you to apply, the model itself is very big. You need to discuss about 5 factors. That could be around 10 marks if they're asking you to just apply. See, apply doesn't mean you just have to copy paste the model's contents. No. Application of that model to the question scenario. There you will need time and the question will be pretty long. Okay. Explain. This involves making an idea clear and could require you to, for example, show logically how a concept is developed or give the reason for an event. Explain. What is the reason behind it? So again, it differs from question. Explain is a pretty simple requirement that you have to explain that what is the reason that something has happened. So when you see questions with these question verbs now, then only it will be more sensible. But whenever now from going forward, keep this introduction slide handy when I'll be sharing it with you. So whenever you're reading the questions, see what is the questions requirement and read for the first few instances, you might have to read the meaning of the question verb. If it is asking you to explain, then you come back to the slide, read what does explain mean. What do you need to do when explain is the question verb? Read it and then start writing your answer. You will all of this explanation which I am giving you now, you will automatically start developing it in your mind. Do it for the first few questions, maybe like for 10-15 questions you do this. You will automatically start seeing if they're asking you to analyze, then read what is expected of you when you analyze. Now when you see the model answer of the PRK, you will see, yes, that is what the book has also followed. Okay. Second last is illustrate. This will require you to give concrete example, illustration. What is an illustration? Example now. So this will require you to give concrete examples normally drawn from the question's scenario. Okay. Next is recommend. If you are asked to recommend and advise are pretty similar. Huh? So if you're asked to recommend, then you are expected to use details presented in a scenario to give a logical and justified course of action. You are required to advise, recommend, suggest. These are all similar question verbs. So first step was what? First step was read the requirement carefully. Step number 1. Second step is what? Read the rest of the question. By reading the requirement first, you will have an idea of what you are looking out for as you read through the case overview and exhibits. This is a great time saver and means you don't end up having to read the whole question in full voice. Okay. And last, read the requirement again. See, before you start drafting your final answer, read the requirement again so that you carefully address the question requirement. Read the requirement again to remind yourself of the exact wording before starting your written answer. This will capture any misinterpretation of the requirements. See, when you are reading it, when you're reading the requirement without knowing the background of the requirement, you might not understand the nitty-gritties of the requirement. But when you read the requirement again before starting to write your answer, you will be able to address the requirement in a more detailed fashion. Okay, so this will capture any misinterpretation of the requirements or any missed requirements entirely. This should become a habit of your approach, and with repeated practice, you will find the focus, relevance, and depth of your answer plan will improve. I'm telling you, I've literally, I mean, students have personally told me, ma'am, the way in which I was answering you, giving you the answers. So when we start practicing now, I will be giving you some questions. Okay, you'll be sharing your answers with me. The questions which you would be sharing now, if you want to save, it's on you. You can save it in an Excel and then compare it with what you start answering me after a few classes, maybe like 9-10 classes. You will see a vast gap already coming up. You will yourself be able to see the improvement in your answers. That is possible only if you are attending the live lectures and you're participative in the class. If I'm asking you to share an answer, please share an answer. Okay, whenever the time comes. So make sure you practice along with me. If I'm asking you to solve something, and don't sit idle. Ma'am to will show only, no. Don't have that approach. Write your own answers. Maybe wrong, maybe right. It doesn't matter. I'm not giving you marks here. My intent is to help you improve in your studies, no. My intent is not to give you marks or something. So whenever the time comes, practice. Okay. Next, exam success skill. So what was the first exam success skill? Reading the requirements carefully. Requirement, exhibit, requirement. That was the first exam success skill. Second is efficient numerical analysis. It is important to use the spreadsheet provided to produce clear and efficient numerical analysis. It is not a sensible idea to perform calculations on a calculator. Already you know. It is not a sensible idea to perform the calculations on a calculator and then manually transfer them to the spreadsheet, because this will not show the marker where the numbers came from. He should not be wondering what happened. Where is this number coming from? Don't let him wonder anything. Give everything to him ready-made. Using a spreadsheet allows you to show the marker how numerical values have been calculated, because the basis for a calculation is displayed if the marker clicks. If you double click, you'll be able to see now what you have done. You can do it. Clear labeling should also help to show the marker what the numbers are intended to mean. Okay. Next, workings. So if you are doing some calculations and that calculation requires some in-depth working, you don't want to clutter your main answer. You want to give references of notes. So you can do workings below or in the side of the answer. So give that labeling also that this is a working note. If the workings are visible in the cell and reflect straightforward calculation as is the case here, then there is no need to show the detailed working. However, a working section will sometimes be useful if more detailed calculations are required. Okay, so this will reduce your likelihood of making errors, because if you start putting all the numbers and all the calculations in just single cell, then there is more scope of error. And in fact, in that case, the examiner may also not be able to follow what you are doing in a particular cell. So if something requires detailed working, scroll down, write down the notes. You can always cut, paste, and do whatever you want. It's not a physical paper that you have to leave appropriate spaces before a working note. You can always copy, cut, paste in the CV that I've already shown. Right? Any doubts? Any ideas that you have, ma'am? I could do this. Will this work? If you have something now, please let me know. I will address it. Then exam success skill 3, and I'll tell you one of the most important skill this is. Okay, for this I have an Excel which I want to discuss with you. Extremely important. Just give me 1 second. I'll open up that Excel. What did I tell you? How much time do you have in the exam for 100 marks? 3 hours and 15 minutes, right? And I told you there is no bifurcation from ACCA's end that 15 minutes is reading or 3 hours is solving or 10 minutes reading, something like that. No. They are giving you 3 or 15 minutes. What do you want to do with it? You care. So total 3 or 15 minutes means what? Can I say it is 195 minutes? Okay. So this 195 minutes that you have, you should use it together for both reading and writing. See, reading itself, now you would have realized the length of the questions. Reading itself will take a lot of time. Okay. So what you should do, very, very important, listen to me very carefully now. First 15 minutes, what you should do, skim read the introductory paragraphs of each question. Question number 1, 2, 3, and then read the introductory paragraphs and exhibits. Very, very like, just like if you're scrolling past the pages on the last moment before the exam, just like that, just you skim read. That's what skim reading is. Very, very fast and quick you're reading it. So skim reading the introductory paragraphs and exhibits of each question and understanding the topics being tested. When you read that, skim reading the introductory paragraphs, or maybe sometimes you will realize that just by looking at the requirements, you understand which topic is being tested. So you are going to study 13 chapters with me. It is 100% sure that there will be some topic which you will feel that, wow, this is like my favorite topic. I hope it comes in the exam. Because it's your strength area. Sometimes some topics will be shit, yeah, I get confused all the time. Right? So that can happen, and it's very natural for each one of us. So for those 15 minutes, what you should do, read through all the requirements, all the questions very fast, and see which topic is being tested in which question. Maybe question number 1 is testing me on Mendelow's metrics, for example. Question number 2 is on Porter's 5 forces model. Question number 3 is on CSF and KPIs. Like that. So when you do that, you understand which topic is in which question. What you should do? First, you should answer the most difficult question. No? What do you do in exam? Which question do you answer first? Most difficult one or the most easy one? No one has given an exam so far. Why are you so silent? Definitely the easy one, right? You will want to answer the easy one first. Why? Because once you answer that easy one, you get I'll come back to you, Vinod, what you are saying. So when you answer the easy question first, you get confidence that 25 marks question, I'll definitely, without any doubt, I'll get around 20 to 21 marks in this, right? So imagine in the first few minutes of the exam, you develop that confidence that minimum 20 marks is secured, 21 marks. Then you go for the next question in the same order, like which one is the next easier question. So when you do that, what happens? Your confidence level improves. Now I've safeguarded 20 marks. What is the pass mark? 50%. I'm just telling you students' mentality. Now when I'm writing this, again, I've safeguarded some 20 marks. Not even 20, let's just say 18 marks for that matter, because it's a little more difficult question. 18 marks. How much have I secured? 20 plus 18, 38 marks. How much marks do I need to pass? 12. How much of the question is left? 50 marks question is left. Now, out of those 50 marks, scoring 12 marks will be a cakewalk. Because you're so short of what you have written so far. But if you follow the approach, so now Vinod has mentioned that he generally writes the first question first. What if the first question itself comes as a bouncer? It's a very difficult, twisted, and complicated, ambiguous sort of a question. You break your heads, I'm not able to solve. You just consume a lot of time. So that wastes your time, and also it breaks your confidence. You just keep on worried. Even if you get past of that question, in your mind, you're always worried. I've just let go of so many marks, or I don't know how I'm going to pass. I'm telling you, exam is not just about knowledge. It is also about managing this pressure, whether I'll pass, whether I'll not, because it's very human to have these emotions during the exam, that whether I'll pass or not. And when you get into that panicky frenzy mode, although you know a lot of things, things start to blank out here. I don't want you to get into that panic mode. So in the first 15 minutes itself, decide the order in which you are going to write the answers. Whether you're going to write question number 3 first, whether you're going to write question number 2, 1, or whatever you're going to write first. That should be clear in your mind. And that is possible only if you just very, very quickly. 15 minutes is the maximum. It's good if you consume less time in deciding this. So 15 minutes maximum you allot for deciding the order in which you're going to attempt the question. That is the intent of sidelining this 15 minutes. Okay, out of the total 195 minutes, 15 minutes you just sideline that I am going to understand in this 15 minutes what is the order in which I'm going to answer the questions. Okay. And so when I remove this 15 minutes from it, 195 minus 15 is what? 180 minutes. Now, in this 180 minutes, I have to practically write for 100 marks, right? I have to write for 100 marks. There are questions for 100 marks. So what does it translate into? It translates into 1.8 minute per mark. Can I say that? 180 divided by 100, that is what? 1.8 minutes per mark. Now, very, very careful. Please listen to this carefully. Although it sounds like a very basic discussion, I'm telling you, students mess up here. And although they know all the complicated technical stuff, they are not able to write the exams properly. So this is very, very critical. So now you have 15 minutes is already gone by. You have 100 marks of paper to attempt, for which you have sidelined 1.8 minute per mark. Okay. Now, how will it look like? See, please understand. So total, there will be 3 questions, 25, 50, 50, 25 and 25. So when you were planning those 15 minutes, now you decided that I'm going to appear for the second question first, which is for 25 marks. Now 25 into 1.8 will be how much? 45 minutes. Okay. See, in book, when you study now, you will see 49 minutes written there. I'll tell you what they have done. So they say that they suggest the Vinod's approach. You start immediately writing the answer. Basically, if you do 195 divided by 100, that is 1.95, multiplied with 25, you will get 49. 40.75, that is 49 minutes. So they are not allowing you to think. That is why in books, you will see for 25 mark questions, they have allotted 49 minutes. For 50 mark questions, they have allotted 98 minutes. But I'm sure now you understand the logic why you should actually sideline some time for reading and understanding what all the questions are asking. And then you plan your approach. So try to do it in a very fast way so that you save your mental energy on worrying and frenzying. Don't do that, right? So for 25 mark questions, and it actually is just a difference of 4 minutes, 4-5 minutes per mark, per question. So 45 minutes you are going to get, right? Now out of this 45 minutes, 9 minutes now. What is this 9 minutes? I'll tell you. The marks which are allotted for 5, for professional marks, you're not going to write anything there. So 5 marks are free to you. So 5 into 1.8 is how much? 9 minutes. Maximum, I'm telling you. 9 minutes is maximum. All of this is actually maximum. So 9 minutes time, you read the requirement, then the exhibit, then the requirement. Because you'll take a lot of time in reading the question. Even when you're sitting in the class now, you will realize how carefully I read the question. And I keep on making mental notes that this part of the, data is given in this paragraph, this paragraph. And when you're reading a lot of long paragraphs, it consumes time. So 9 minutes maximum, you read the question and then also you plan. It's not like that you read and then your mind immediately starts telling you this is right. You plan out things now that you can scribble in the spreadsheet or in the word processor that this is the basic thoughts I'm having in my mind. Scribble it somewhere when you're reading the question itself. Okay, because you would have read the requirement, now you're reading the exhibit, so maybe your mind will start giving you some answers now that this is something you can use to write the requirement, correct? So use this first 9 minutes maximum for planning, reading and planning. Okay, then for 6 marks, so let's say question number 2 has 3 subparts A, B, C. First one is of 6 marks, so 6 marks into 1.8 is 11 minutes. 6 again 11, so approximately now. Don't expect to do such technical marks and time calculation in exam. What you should do, why I'm telling you this, understand the agenda behind it. Students, when they're starting to write, you would also agree with me, tell me the speed with which you start writing the exam versus the speed with which you end the exam. Is it the same? Do you write at the same pace when you start the exam, first 30 minutes, and compare it with the last 15 minutes? Is your speed the same, typing or writing? Towards the end, you're rushing. You're writing at a phenomenal speed. So what happens now? Now, again, normal human tendency, when you start off the exam, you feel, oh wow, I have all the time in this world. It doesn't happen like that. So what you should do, you should allocate specific time for each question that I need to complete. So if I'm starting my paper at 11 o'clock, I should complete the first question. First question, if I'm starting off at 11 o'clock, I should be complete by it by 11:45 a.m. It should not go beyond it, because if I'm doing it, if I'm, let us say, taking 1 hour instead of 45 minutes, I'm eating into the time of another question. See, please understand, you will not get extra marks. So if it's a 25 mark question, you will not get 27 marks just because you wrote extremely well. Write appropriate answer and move on. Don't think if you keep on glorifying and beautifying the same question, you will get extra marks. Write appropriate and move on. Give each question its own importance. You need to give each question their own allotted time, and that is possible only if you plan this out. So for the first question, you are setting aside just 45 minutes. If I'm not done with this question completely in the 45 minutes, you know what I'll do? I'll stop it then and there. Maybe just a few concluding lines, and then I'll just pause it then and there, not exceeding even 30 seconds to conclude the answer, whatever I have to write. 45 minutes, done. Move to the next question. Take up the next question, write it. And this time, when your speed is starting to increase, you might start saving some time, 2-3 minutes like that. And that time which you are saving, you can again come back to the first question to complete it. So in this way, you know what you are doing? You are giving each question the time, because in this way you will be able to complete your paper. And I've practically heard feedback from students that, ma'am, because of the time management, I was able to complete the paper. Whereas if you talk to any other person who is not taking coaching for that matter, you will hear it a lot. Papers are very lengthy. I could just appear for 70 marks. Please understand, getting 50 out of 70 is much more difficult than getting 50 out of a 95 normal attempted paper versus a 70 extremely good attempted paper. Maybe it is extremely good for you, but examiner is looking out for something else. What then? So make sure you try to maximize the number of marks for which you are attempting. The logic should be clear. Getting 50 out of 100 or 95 is easier than getting 50 out of 65 or 75. It will be a very, very mammoth task to do. So make sure you manage your time well. Please tell me. So I've just given a sample here. Like, see, question number 1 is again for 50 marks. So total time you can give is what? 90 minutes. 90 minutes is what? 1.5 hours. So for this 18 minutes, question number 1's exhibits are also very long. You would have seen only which the sample exams I showed you. So you'll take more time to read, to correlate the data, to note down, scribble down your thoughts pertaining to the requirement. So 18 minutes is planning and reading time. Rest all is purely writing. You're writing your answers during 25 minutes, 29 minutes, 18 minutes. All that thought work has now gone into in those first 18 minutes itself. I'm telling you, if you follow this approach, you'll be writing absolutely beautiful answers. Okay. And in the similar way, 25 mark question, 45 marks. So total, you see, if I just add up the, planning time, initial planning time, and the respective questions time, it adds up to 195 minutes. This is how you optimize your time. Please let me know if it is fine. Are you able to understand? Any doubts, ma'am? No, I feel that no, this will be a better approach. Tell me. Very frankly, you can, I mean, you also have been students. It's not like you're appearing for an exam for the first time. And just giving you some ideas from my own experience. You might have some other ideas also. Please feel free to share it. Shruti, it's fine. What about others? Any concerns that you have or any ideas that you have better, please feel free to share. Some of you have also attempted for exams earlier. You can also share your ideas if you have anything on time management, because I know those who have attempted will realize how important it is to manage the time properly. Is it okay? Can I move ahead? So Vinith has the ninja technique of typing fast. See, it's going to be super, super helpful for you. In fact, I'll tell you frankly, those of you who are working now, you'd have an edge here. Because in your work, you would be using your keyboard a lot, typing a lot, number punching a lot. So it definitely gives you edge. But if you're with me in the classes and you're practicing along with me, it all gets sorted. So make sure you use laptop when you're studying. So then only you'll be able to manage the time. Okay, that's great. So Vineet has learned typewriter. That's wow, nice. And coming to the last slide of the introduction, and that is keep an eye on the clock. Aim to attempt all requirements. Please follow this carefully. Aim to attempt all requirements, but be ready to be ruthless and move on if your answer is not going as planned. Don't start getting worried. Oh, I know so much. I'm not able to write. I should continue writing. Don't get emotional in exam. Be practical. The challenge for many is sticking to planned timings. Like I just showed you, this is a challenge for a lot of students. Be aware this is difficult to achieve in the early stages of your studies, and be ready to let the skill develop over time. So like when we'll be practicing in class, I'll be allotting you, I'm giving you 10 minutes to see how much you are able to write in the 10 minutes. In fact, when I'm giving you homework, try to answer in the allotted time only. In this way, you will actually start developing the skill. It will not come to you overnight, this time management. It comes with practice over time. Right? If you find yourself running short on time and know that a full answer is not possible in the time you have, consider recreating your plan in overview form. Whatever you want to write, just write in short sentences and be over with it, because you might know a lot, but time is not permitting you to write. So write in short and just mention your thoughts and move on, and then close the exam. Okay, and then add key terms and details as time allows. Remember, some marks may be available, for example, simply stating a conclusion for which you don't have the time to justify in full. Maybe you know the final answer, you wanted to justify, this is the question work, but you're not getting the time to do it. So what you can do, just write the conclusion. At least 1 mark you might get, yeah. Students pass with 50 also, 51 also. So that 1 mark can be extremely crucial. Okay, so that is the last exam success skill. So what are the 3 exam success skills that we have studied? First is correct interpretation of the requirements, right? Second is your numerical analysis. It should be done properly in the spreadsheets. Then third is your time management. Okay, for this, please refer the spreadsheet. Okay, so that is about the introduction slide. I hope all of you have understood it now. So this was just the brief of the paper, of the exam pattern, of the questions, and how you will have to prepare for exam. Just everything covered in this particular slide. Let's do one thing. Let's start off the first chapter. Open the wrong chapter. Yeah. So chapter number 1, strategic management accounting. Okay, so that is the first one. Let's get into it and understand. Strategic performance management, planning and control. See, I told you now when we were studying the first slide, what is the overall aim of the syllabus? Overall aim of the syllabus is planning, controlling, and evaluating the performance of an organization. How can you do that in a systematic way? So that is what you're going to study here. We have some models. So for the first one that we have for planning and controlling, we have Robert Anthony's model. Robert Anthony classified the information used at different management levels for planning, control, and decision making into 3 tiers. What are they? Strategic planning, tactical control, and operational control. Okay, so as I told you that there are going to be a lot of models. Let's start off. Yes, Shruti, it will be a mix. I mean, I'll say 70-80% it will be more or less theory, and balance would be some numerical calculation supporting the theory. Okay, so let us make a sheet. I'll make an Excel sheet. See, whenever we come across a model, not just if I don't remember myself, please remind me to put that model in this Excel sheet so that all your models get at one place. So this I'll just put as a screenshot over there also. 1 second. Okay. So you can give the necessary headings here. Robert Anthony's information pyramid. Okay, so like this, now we will keep on adding the files here. Summary, APM, models, summary, right? So when the syllabus is over, I'll share across this file. In the meanwhile, like you can also start preparing your version. Okay, coming back to the deck. So Robert Anthony classified the information used at different management levels for planning, control, and decision making into 3 tiers: strategic planning, tactical control, and operational control. Operations is day-to-day, internal, detailed, often transactional level. Okay. So it's very basic. See, if you are already working, you would be aware about it. If you're not, see, in corporates, how does it work? So there are a lot of people at the initial manager level. Those who are just starting off, like analysts or assistants, managers, assistant managers. So there are a lot of people at the bottom hierarchy, who are just starting off their careers. So they are involved in a lot of in-depth, very detailed work. Maybe let's say you are doing some accounting entries. For example, I'm just telling you. So accounting entries, day-to-day, transactional level detail is what you would be handling at the operational level. Okay. So once you are, then these people, they report to certain managers, senior managers, basically, senior managers or associate directors. So all of them come at tactical level of management. So this is the tactical management. Next, on top of them, there is a strategic management. Who are they? Senior directors, vice presidents, CXO positions. So when I say CXO, it is like CEO, CFO, CTO, CHRO, all of the chief positions. So those are the strategic people of the company. Now think about it. What would be the information requirements at each layer of the company? Will the people who are sitting at like the lower level of the management hierarchy have the same information needs as the people who are sitting at the CXO position? Will the CFO use the same information as maybe people, the assistant managers would be using in their work? Would it be same? Would it be same? Of course not. Of course not, definitely. Because they have a long-term vision. The CXO people, they would have a long-term vision. They would be forward-looking. They'll have an external focus. So when they will be working now, they will be comparing not just the internal working, but also compare it with the competitors. How are we faring against the competitors? Even that they will be seeing. Okay. So that is what is given here. Strategy. That what is this requirement, information requirement of the people at the strategic level? They are forward looking. They think of the future. What next? What do we do next? If there is a problem, how do we solve it? That is the forward looking approach of the strategic people. External focus and more or less a lot of non-financial focus also. How do the customers perceive our company? Okay, that is non-financial. So for example, let's say if I'm talking about Flipkart. Flipkart is not just about money, it's also about how the customers perceive our app or our service. Because if the service deteriorates, the customers will go away. They find some other alternative and then they will just move on to them and we lose it. So the people at the top now, they think about the impact of each and every decision on the customer experience, on the impact on the shareholders, how will shareholders react to this? So that is how the strategic people, the CX positions will have as a thought. Okay, that is forward-looking, external focus, and non-financial in nature. Right? Next is tactics. Tactics is the middle level management. Now, the middle term or the medium term, these people, when they need information, it will be linked to budgets. What is the budget of my department? So what did I tell you? The directors, the associate directors, senior managers, they will be at this level. So they will always be thinking, what is the budget allocated to our department? How much have we been able to consume? What is the forecast, the resources? That is what they will be planning. How much we want to achieve in the medium term. Maybe so if I have to define short term, medium term, long term, I can say short term will be like what? 1 year. Medium term would be around 3 to 5 years. And long term will be more than 5 years. What is the long term impact of a particular decision? That is what strategic people would be thinking. At the middle level, at medium term, people will be thinking, what is the impact of the decision in the next 3 to 5 years? Okay, so they will prepare forecast for that. And at the operation, as I told you, transactional data, transactional level, what is the impact of a decision? So there will be very limited decision making, frankly, at this level. You will be doing routine tasks, which will be very much guarded by a SOP. A standard operating procedure would be there, which you would be following for taking decisions at this level. Am I clear? Are you able to understand what this model is saying? That there are 3 layers in the organization and what is the information requirement at each of these layers. Okay, Vinod says, can we say population and strategy will decide why we need to do, population and tactics will decide who and how, and ops people will decide what. I have a slight amend to it, Vinod. I would think that people at the strategic level now, they decide what needs to be done next. What next? So what as well as why, that will be decided at the strategic layer. The tactics layer is right. So tactics layer will decide who will do what among the team and how. That also they will have to dictate. That, because people at the operational level will not have that clarity of thought now how it is to be done. So yes, you are right in the tactics approach. And ops people, the people at the operational level, they will be just ensuring the completion of the what's and how's and why's and who's. Their job will be to just do it as dictated or as suggested or as showed by the people at their above them. So their task will be more of implementation, and people at the top, strategic and the tactical people will be deciding what's and how's and who's. Okay, so that is how it is. But please understand, the model is saying that the information requirement at each of these layers is different. The CFO will be asking for some very high level reports, whereas people, if you are in the finance domain, if you're at the assistant manager or the analyst level, your requirement will be completely different. Okay. So now let us understand about it in some more details. Strategic planning. The process of deciding on objectives of the organization, on changes in those objectives, on the resources used to attain those objectives, and on strategies that are given that are to govern the acquisition, use and disposal of these resources. Blah, 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 blah. Very long sentences of simply saying strategic planning means what. See, we'll talk in very simple sentences. Huh? I mean, there is a theoretical definition to it, which frankly you don't have to memorize also. It's just there for the purpose of like what ACCA is believing in it. So strategic planning, it says that what are the overall goals and objectives of the company? Where is the company headed? So the process of deciding on the objectives, what resources you will need to achieve the objectives, and what are the strategies you need to develop to achieve those objectives. So the moot point is, what is the objective of the organization? That is what is decided at the strategic level. A lot of complicated words. In simple, just remember, at the strategic planning level, you are deciding on the objectives of the organization. And then how to achieve those objectives, what strategies, what resources, from where you will get it, all of that is at the strategic level. Okay. Next is tactical or management control. The process by which managers ensure that resources are obtained and used efficiently in the process of achieving the organization's objectives. So what is happening? People at the top are setting the objectives of the organization, and then people at the tactical level, they are seeing, okay, this is the objective, this is the budget that we have. Let us see what resources can we obtain in this budget, and how can we maximize or optimize the output of these resources to ensure that the objectives of the organization are achieved. Okay. And third is what? The operational control. The process of ensuring that the tasks are carried out. Whatever was decided at the top, we are the ones who are going to implement it, right? That is the specific tasks that they are supposed to carry out. Very, very simple. Am I clear? So let's do a brief recap. You tell me, what is the ultimate agenda at the strategic level? Be very quick. Let's see. What is the ultimate agenda at the strategic level? Very good. It is about setting the objectives of the organization. Perfect, Shruti and Vinod. Next, what is the objective at the tactical level? What is the objective at the tactical level? Very good, Shruti. Effective use of resources in the given budget. Okay. And then last is operational control. Operational control is what? What is the objective? Carrying out the tasks, right? To do the laboring work. This idea of a hierarchy between strategic and operational levels is an important theme in APM because, number one, an organization needs to perform well at operational level in order to achieve the strategic levels, objectives. Please understand, if this layer is not performing well, now people at the top will also not be able to perform well. And similar, it goes vice versa also. If people at the top are not competitive enough, however competitive the people at the operational level may be, they will not be able to succeed. So it goes hand in hand. Operational level is important for the strategic level, and the strategic level people are important for the operational level. So both of them, they are important. Okay. So an organization needs to perform well at operational level in order to achieve its strategic objectives. And to achieve the strategic objectives, it is important that the objectives and goals at operational level are aligned to meeting those strategic objectives. Okay, what does it mean? That, there will be some big goals and objectives which will be set at the strategic level. And the goals also get broken down at each level. At the medium level, it will get broken down. Then at the operational level, the goals and objectives, they get more specific. So it needs to be ensured that the goals, the specific goals which are being set at the operational level are commensurate with the goals at the strategic level. It should not be like in the process of breaking down the goals and objectives, the theme, the underlying agenda of the organization gets lost. The goals and objectives of the operational team should be aligned with the overall objectives of the organization. That is how it should flow. Please tell me, do you accept this idea that yes, there needs to be an alignment between the objectives at the operational level and at the top level? Then only the machinery will work well now. Otherwise, everything will just go very haywire. Right? For example, if an organization's underlying strategy is based on differentiating itself from competitors through the quality of service it provides to its customers, then it needs to ensure that its customer-facing staff deliver the necessary high quality of service to all its customers on a day-to-day basis. Okay. So the strategic objective of a particular organization is that we provide best of service to the customers. That's the best quality of service I want to provide. That is the objective at the top. Now people at the top are thinking, oh yes, we'll provide the best service. If the people at the operational level are not implementing it, will you be able to achieve that objective? No. So you would have seen now that, see, if you go to a, let's say, 5-star hotel, okay, there will be so many people, so many support staff, just looking after you, to help you, to guide you, maybe to navigate you within the hotel, to help you to the room, to, port your luggage. There is a proper, well-behaved team. And you'll always see them, respond to you with a smile. They'll try to understand your problems and concerns. It's a bit of, you feel like, yeah, now I've come to a luxury. Same, hotel industry. You go to a very cheap hotel. Hey, ma'am. Like, you just understand, no, the difference in the attitude of the people, of the support staff. So that is the strategy. The people, the 2-star or the 3-star hotel, they're not working to give best quality service to the customers. Whereas, the 5-star, 7-star hotels, they are definitely working to create the differentiated identity that yes, we are there to give the best service, best hospitality to our customers. So the people, the objective at the top, it shows, it reflects, it needs to actually reflect in the attitude and the working style of the people at the operational level. Okay, so that needs to be properly aligned. What is the objective at the top and how are the people at the bottom actually implementing it? And you will see that in a lot of different industries. I just gave you an example of a hotel industry. You might have examples of other companies also, right? Now, potential conflicts between strategic and operational decisions. So I gave you an example like of the hotel industry, like a 5-star, 7-star hotel versus a 2 or a 3-star hotel. If strategies are to be successfully implemented, there must be a clear link between the strategic planning and the operational planning. There needs to be a link between them. They both not should be looking in the different directions. They both should be headed in the same direction. So this, this link may be absent because of some following reasons. Now let us understand what they could be. Unrealistic plans. Plans could be over-ambitious. So imagine like a 2-star hotel, they are hiring under-trained people and then they are saying that, I'll provide the best of quality service to the customers. Don't you think the plan is unrealistic? The strategy itself is unrealistic, right? So the plans could be over-ambitious. Example, let's say what the book says. Example, unplanned market share based on unrealistically high forecast of production capacity. Unrealistic plans may lead to overworking operational staff, leading to mistakes. So if you're asking the people to work at full throttle, at full speed, and they are exceeding their capacities, then there is bound to be mistakes. Bound to be mistakes, quality issues, and possibly lost sales. You might lose your customer. The customer will see that I wasted my money on this, poor quality product. I should go to the competitor. They'll not come back to you. You would have lost it just because you were, asking the operational staff to overexert themselves. Okay. So that is there in this reason, in this case, there could be a conflict between the strategy and the way in which the operational staff are implementing it. Okay, that is unrealistic plans. Second, poor communication. If operational managers are unaware of strategic planning goals, this could lead to inconsistent goals at different levels in an organization. Example, operational managers focusing on quality, where the strategic plans are based on low cost. Okay. So I'll tell you what happens now. There is no consistency. In some cases, there is no consistency between what, yes, right, it's like a Chinese whisper. So there is no consistency in what the people at the top are thinking versus what the people at the bottom are thinking. Because people at the top, they were just giving out orders and instructions rather than explaining what is the reason behind it. What is the overall idea and the intent behind those instructions? They're just giving you do this, you do that, and that. But if you explain the logic behind your orders or instructions, then the person taking those orders and instructions understands better. Right? So those goals, they need to be communicated properly from top to bottom for there to be a clear alignment between what the strategy or the people at the top are pursuing versus what the people at the operational level are pursuing. If you are there is no clear communication between the two, then they will start following different directions. Okay. So if operational managers are unaware of the strategic planning goals, this could lead to inconsistent goals. They'll start thinking different. So there needs to be a proper communication between people at the top and people at the operational level management. Okay. Next is inadequate performance measurement. Meaning that managers will not know whether the organization is performing well in the areas that contribute to competitive advantage. What it means is, so strategic and operational decisions could have a conflict. Why? Because the measurement of the performance is not being done properly. Okay. So the people at the top will not understand only what the people at the bottom is doing, which is actually contributing to our success. See, what happens is when you are doing well at something and you know that this is working out for you, then you try to improve it now. If you don't know only what is working out for you, how will you improve in life? Same is what happens in corporates also. If the people at the top are not measuring the performance properly, they will not know what is contributing to their competitive advantage. So managers need to have proper performance measurement checks and techniques. Then only there will be no conflict between strategic and the operational decisions. Because if the people at the top don't know what is working out for them, then they will not even care to improve it further. Right? That could be an issue. Point C is applicable to which level? See, no, we're discussing about operational and strategic management. Okay, I'll explain it again. What this saying is, let's read it, meaning that managers will not know whether the organization is performing well in the areas that contribute to competitive advantage. Meaning to say, because there is inadequate performance measurement, please understand, senior management will know what is working out for them only if they're measuring the right things. If you're not measuring it right, how will you know what is working out for you? Okay. So, like IPM related to within the organization or with the market, within the organization or with the market. It could be anything. It could be internal also, it could be external also. So maybe, so I'll tell you an example here. For example, the objective of the strategic management was to enhance the productivity of the machinery. Okay, so this was the intent or the tone which was said that we need to enhance the productivity of the organization. By organization, let us say it's the manufacturing company to enhance the productivity of a particular machine. Objective at the top. So they conveyed it to the bottom layers, to the tactical, to the operational management. and they started working. But the top management did not care to implement a proper measurement mechanism. That what will change from today, that I will know that after 2 months the performance or the productivity has improved. There is no performance measure to it. Like, how can I measure my productivity? Number of units produced per hour. I was not capturing it before, I was not capturing it later. I just see that my sales has increased. What led to that increase in the sales? Or what exactly was the factor, detailed factor which led to the improvement in sales or the productivity? That is possible to understand only if you're measuring the right things. If you're not measuring the right things, you will not know what worked out for you. What is the productivity of each, workman? How has it improved? Are they putting in extra hours? How is the productivity increasing? So it needs to be measured for them to take proper decisions for the future. If they are not measuring it, they'll not even understand what to tell this. Operational management to do more. Okay, so then if there is a directionless movement in the organization, people are just doing what they feel like. So inadequate performance measurement creates a gap between the strategic and the operational management. Okay, so that is what it is writing. Clear? So that is about the potential conflicts. So let's do one thing. Let's complete this topic for today's class and then we will wrap it up. Okay, so we have about 5 minutes more. Performance management in strategic planning and control. The underlying aim of performance management is to improve an organization's performance and ensure that its goals and objectives are achieved. This means that an organization must first have established its goals and objectives in order to assess whether they are being met. My previous example. So if you have something in mind, if you have some goals and objectives, then there needs to be a way to actually measure now whether they are being met or not. This means that an organization must first have, an organization must first have established its goals and objectives, that what do I want to achieve, in order to then assess whether they are being met. Therefore, there is a need for planning. You need to define. See, if you are studying today, okay, you're just randomly studying. You open the book, you open the slides, you randomly think about things and then close the books, close the slides. You don't have any objective. Will you be successful? No. You're just doing it as a story reading type. But if you have a goal that I have to complete my syllabus by the mid of November and I want to pass the exam with, let us say, 70% marks minimum. You have a goal, you have a clear-cut strategy that yes, I have to complete my syllabus, I have to get this much marks. That is defining goals and objectives. And control. Control is what? You set out with a plan that I want to achieve, I want to complete the syllabus by mid of November and I want to get 70% marks. What are you doing to achieve it? Are you in control? Are you moving in the direction in which you're intended to? That is control. So planning is about defining goals and objectives, and control is assessing whether the plans are working as intended. So you will be making plans to achieve the goals and objectives now. So under control, you will see whether your plans are actually working or not. Performance management can be seen as a set of processes often supported by technology which enable organizations to plan and control effectively. Okay, so performance management as a whole, it involves planning and controlling. In planning, you set out the goals and objectives, and the plan to achieve those goals and objectives. And in control, you check whether your plans are actually working out. Performance management can be seen as a set of process which helps you to do this effectively. Okay, that how will you implement the planning and controlling, right? Performance management systems, the systems in an organization by which the performance of that organization is measured, controlled, and improved. Okay, so you have to measure the performance, you have to control the performance, and then you also have to improve the performance. Okay, so that is the meaning or description of a performance management system. Is it clear? Any doubts so far? Is it okay, everyone? Shruti, Vineet, Tanveer, Sagar, Lakshit. Perfect. All right. So then let's wrap up today's class. We'll meet you tomorrow at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock, and then we'll continue our discussion on chapter number 1. So what happens now? The notes I share for whatever the chapters I complete, I share it with the admin team, mostly Sandeep, and then Sandeep uploads it on the common drive, Google Drive, which you all can access. So maybe if you not get the notes, I mean on Sunday, you'll get it by Monday. So I'll be sharing the notes with him, and then he will upload it on a Google Drive with you all. Okay. So make sure during the week when there are no classes, it's just a beginning now, you'll not have much material to read. But once the classes go in full-fledged mode, you keep on revising the topics in the week so that you don't get out of touch. Because there are a lot of things you're going to study new, and if you do not revise now, you will start to forget. So make sure once the chapters are getting over, you also revise them at home so that you remain in contact and in touch with the topics. And if you have any doubt, and that's the best thing, if you have any doubts, you can get them clarified during the duration of the class itself. Okay. So make sure you do it. All right. So thanks a lot for attending the class so patiently today. We'll catch up with you tomorrow. Bye-bye and take care. Thanks. Ciao.